you. You're fucking poor.
When you're rich or poor, we are all...
Get away from me.
No, you get the fuck out of here. You touch me, I'll fucking kill you. Go ahead.
You hateful skanks. They hate the truth. This is why Jesus is not even what? You're a demon. All you Jews are demons.
We are all God's
So,
children.
no, you're not.
Get the fuck
You
up.
are not. You are children of Satan.
We are all God's children. Get out of here.
Do not use the word. Do not tell me to leave, bitch.
You leave these.
I'm standing right
you
here.
You leave them alone.
You come and lay your hands on me, bitch.
You ever touch me, so help me God.
Oh, good, then.
You fucking know who I know. You ever touch me, so help me God.
Oh, true. You know what you're here for? Controlled opposition. That's all it. You're getting paid by Bezos. You fucking cunts. Who gonna look at my eyes? You nasty Jew. You're getting this shit from Bezos. All getting paid. Stop the lockdown. You don't mean it. You don't mean it. I say to you Jews, that ain't nothing to do with Jews. Ain't nothing to do with Jews. Hey, nigga, motherfucker, if you come close to me, I'm gonna punch you, nigga.
Goodbye.
Look how you all crying to me, you see this?
Goodbye.
Get away
You guys,
from
don't
me,
waste your
bitches.
time with this pussy.
Get away from me.
I happen to be a Christian.
Bitches,
I happen to be a Christian and I'm gay. You hate gay people?
Charles, it's the Christmas season, and
It is.
love is in the air here in Union Square Park.
I don't give a fuck.
The guy's
Christian and I'm gay.
Ignore him.
So?
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah, you don't mind.
No, I don't.
Okay, so don't assume everybody's Jewish and stop picking on them. They're my
They're
friends.
picking on me.
They're my friends.
Well, who's attacking me, huh?
We are. You
Right.
because you're being antagonistic.
Let's put together at one
You're
guy.
being violent and
Get
antagonistic.
away from me, you fucking
Do it, I swear to God. I'll call the
You're
His
being
problem
violent
is
and
he's a Boston Red
antagonistic.
Sox
Get the
fan.
hell out of
That's
here.
a fundamental problem.
Jesus, you see this? This is what led to the
I'm
crucifixion.
a Christian. I know
I
about
am not
you.
against Jews.
Back up.
I am not.
Back up.
I'm not against Jews,
You've
gentlemen.
been saying some hateful stuff. Why don't
I
you
have
go
to
away?
say it with the truth, my
Go
man.
away. Go away.
Who's running this?
Go
The
away.
Jews are doing this.
Go away.
Put it on YouTube. And I don't hate Jews.
Go away.
I do not.
Go home.
But these fucking
Go home.
demons.
What's
Go
wrong
home.
with this?
Coincidence.
Go home.
So you're
Leave him
wrong with it?
alone. Let him go. This
Get
guy.
lost.
This guy just showed everybody. Let's let him go. Let him walk away. Please don't follow him. Let him walk away.
Get lost.
Let him get lost.
He'll
Let him
come
get
back.
lost. This guy showed everybody what he's all about.
Love
Charles,
everybody. God, Jesus had love in his heart. It's hate in your
telling you what to
heart.
do. Let's just let him walk away.
No,
Let's
I
just
know
let
what
him
I'm
walk
doing,
away.
all right?
I'm not telling you what to do.
By the way, I just wanted to correct you on one thing. At our last rally, you said China homes Biden. It's China owns Biden.
That's what I meant to
but
say.
But it was on your website. It's
Oh.
homes.
Oh, I better
Biden.
correct
I
that.
was like, homes.
I better correct that. I'll correct
I'm like,
that.
that makes no sense whatsoever.
I
just
appreciate
wanted-
your concern, but I've been all over
that guy's
media.
crazy.
I've
I
been
don't
doing
want him
this
to
for
hit you.
years.
She doesn't-
I know how to
I
handle it,
understand.
all right?
good.
I'm not going to abide by someone who hates beautiful people. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, Christian or Jew. This is the trouble with New York City. Right.
I
And you
agree.
people better start rising up because you know what? Our powers to be, they want this division.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
glad you're here. I love you. I love your work.
Love you too.
Thank you very
Love
much.
you too.
I
we
mean
shouldn't
that.
have to tolerate
I really
No, we
his
shouldn't.
We
hate,
shouldn't.
his
I
hate,
just
his
didn't
abuse.
want it to escalate. He's going to hit somebody. Somebody gets
Right,
hurt.
he was
He's
ready to
amazing.
get
I don't
physical.
think
He was
so.
ready to get
He's
physical.
amazing.
You're right.
He's coming back.
he's
He's
insane.
already over
He's a
there.
nut
Oh, okay.
job.
Well, don't show that. Don't show that.
No, it's all legal.
Okay, all right.
All right. Glad to
Thanks,
have
guys.
you.
Yeah,
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
So, Charles, we're here.
for doing that.
My
Thanks.
pleasure. We're here waiting for today's anti-lockdown rally to start, and that guy came over. I witnessed him start agitating.
Yeah, he was making vile comments about it's the rich Jews. It's not the Jews' fault. It's
Yeah.
the rich Jews' fault. I mean, and that's just.
Well, that makes much more sense.
Well, no, it's just horrible thinking. I mean, it's just horrible thinking. And I think what she was saying is, or one of the people was saying, is absolutely right. The whole goal of this exercise, the post-1945 exercise, remember when in 1945 there was the Soviet Union, China eventually became communist. And
When was the Soviet Union formed?
I want to say 1918 or
Okay.
17 or something like that. But so there was the Soviet Union. There were a very active Communist Party inside the United States of America. Indeed, here in New York, some believe that it was New York and Chicago were where the centers of communism were. And in New York, it was up at Columbia
And
University.
there were a lot of Jewish people involved in the communist
Absolutely.
movement, but I mean, you can't condemn an entire people because of a group of objectionable individuals.
Well, but this is a way of thinking. I know it's obviously Jews have been persecuted, but rich people have been persecuted. Rich people have done bad things, but
Yeah.
they then also have been persecuted. for millennia, right? I mean, you're sitting there, you can't satisfy the majority of the people, and you suddenly realize that 10 people control a lot
Everything.
of wealth. You say,
Yeah.
you know, I got a solution here. We'll just take their shit and give it to these people, right? And then steal a bunch for ourselves. So it's obnoxious thinking. And here we are on December 20th,
Yeah.
2020. So what is that? 11 more days till the end of December, and then 20 days, 19 and a half days until somebody is going to be inaugurated as
Someone
president.
will be president, that's
Right.
for sure.
And we don't know. We don't know who is going to do what yet. And one of the things that I admired Trump about was his kicking ass and getting shit done, even though a lot of people were, millions of people were resisting and defying and spying and using lawfaring, but and worse, against him and his allies. For the life of me, I do not understand the decision to resist getting these damn voting machines
Right,
and
forensic investigation.
stopping the Georgia runoff, because it's proposed that they use the same Dominion voting machines. Those should not be used in the Georgia runoff. It's just, if you're going to do it, it should be a hand count with ID. And so I don't understand why the president, and maybe he's not being lackadaisical, but why he appears to be being so lackadaisical. This coming week is basically shot already.
Why? Oh, because Christmas.
Well, Christmas Eve. For a lot of people, they begin celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve, and that will now be Thursday night. And so you start thinking, well, if I'm taking
off.
well, then you start thinking that. You say, well, I'm going to take Thursday off. Why don't I take
Wednesday
Monday,
off.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then come to think of it, if New Year's is the next week, why don't I go away for 2
nobody's
weeks?
really starting anything this
Right.
week. You're right.
Right. And so the problem, and I think the challenge, why it's taking so long for him to actually implement stuff, is he sits there in the Oval Office and he says, okay, I want Sidney Powell to be the special prosecutor. And is that okay with everybody? Oh yeah, it's fine, boss, fine. And then you leave, and there's no Sidney Powell special prosecutor.
Yeah, why didn't that happen?
I don't know, but I mean, and the New York Times is making fun of her.
Can
saying
the president just appoint a special?
I think so.
So why is the New York Times making fun of it?
Because that's the way they sell. That's how they mount a crusade against anybody who doesn't buy the party line. Hillary was the one who started it. She's the one who talked about the vast right-wing conspiracy as a way of attempting to debunk the initial allegations against the Clintons for the many scandals that came to light early on.
It's Alinskyism. It's the simple playbook of rules for radicals. It's the same thing these social engineers do online. They do it at the New York Times. They do it in politics.
Right.
It's easy. People need to look at it. I mean, they say, oh, don't talk to these trolls.
Right.
Part of the reason that I try to draw them out. Hey, how are you? Good. Part of the reason I try to draw them out, Charles, is that I want to understand how they operate and what they're doing.
Right, but so what we do when we play by the rules, if you're playing a team that is going to, if it's basketball, they're going to put, instead of 5 people on their side, they're going to put 25. Instead of using a basketball, they're going to use a little ball like this. And, they with 15 of the 25 people, they hold you down on the floor and then just run the basketball. I mean, that's basically what they're doing here.
Right.
And they're trying to put us in a position where it's a fait accompli. And I hope that, I don't know that this is true, but I certainly hope that Durham finally is doing something, and that the voting machines will in fact be exposed, and that Lin Wood knows what he's talking about, and that there is substance behind his major allegations against Roberts and others. But if you want to try to round this stuff up, I mean, I wouldn't, as Trump has said, there's going to be a, quote, wild protest on Washington, D.C. on January 6th.
He said that?
Yeah.
Wild?
Right, and so
Doesn't sound good.
if I were he, what I would have done is I said, listen, obviously it's important to stay home with your family on New Year's Eve and on the 1st. But starting on the 2nd, we want you here in Washington, D.C. We want you before the votes are opened to come from all across the country.
The New York Times will say he's promoting his hotel.
And you can't stay in our hotel, and you can't stay in the parking lot, whatever. But no, you start promoting that so that you have not 400,000 people show up, but 15 million people show up.
Well, we crush Washington, D.C., but
Well,
I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's very disconcerting what's going on, Charles. That guy just feels the need to spew hate at these. Why
Right.
can't he just walk away if he disagrees? I mean, what is up with all of this just hatred. These people on the left who say they're progressive and they want, every downtrodden minority to join together, but they just want to spew hate.
Well, people on the left, are rushing us into being subservient to the Communist Party of China.
I think that woman was being bit by that dog.
That woman is the nice woman.
Dog.
That's the woman who wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
But this is about the United States being controlled by the Chinese Communist Party directly and indirectly through Joe Biden and his crime family and his associates and the others who want to suck up to the Chinese Communist Party and are enthralled to it. That's what this is about. And we have precious few moments left to actually get ready to stop this. I mean, they want lockdowns so they can then put you away. I mean, this is not about.
It's not getting better.
Right. This is not. This is not just a small little decision we have to make here. We got to rise up.
They're also relentless with their accusations. You know, it's not just a matter of, oh, hey, wait a minute, you got this report wrong, or something you actually did. They just make up nonsense and smear it around the internet to ruin somebody's life.
Well, or worse. And you look at this, the very same people who are decrying, who believe that the United States of America is a fundamentally flawed country because for quite a few years slavery was legal in this country, and yes, that is a blotch on our history, are rushing us into the arms of a country that is enslaving minorities, actually enslaving millions of people. Chinese people and minorities inside that country has been called out for it, and their attitude is, look, if you call us out, we're going to just stop doing business with you or make your life more difficult or punish you or lock away your relatives. So we know what they're going to be like once they get control. They're not going to be nicer to us.
Right.
And yet people are foolishly all in for lockdown. They're all in for bite me. They're all in for not looking at Hunter Biden's facts or Joe Biden's true history. They don't want to know any of that. They just want to be locked down. And we got to stand up and be counted.
I agree with you, Charles. So this is starting. Let's see what everybody has to say
Why
here.
are we here? Can I hear some answers? Are we upset? What's going on? Do they like the government? They'll give up the ship, save our city. No mandatory masks, no mandatory vaccines, no mandatory death.
Okay.
You can be heard. You can be heard.
You can be heard. Jason, just go over there.
But the microphone is on you.
I'll send you an email.
1, 7, 2,
Oh, okay. Okay, we're on air right now. Okay, we'll do it. All right.
No to A 11179. This is a mandated vaccine. This is poison. Are we upset about the tyrannical government?
They want to.
Are we going to take this lying down? No! Okay, so we're here in New York City. It is rainy. It is snowy. But the show must go on. We're going to have some incredible speakers for you today. Do we have our show today? Is the show going to be on? A Star is Born? Is that happening today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we may have an off-Broadway play called A SARS is Born. Okay, God bless you. Why don't you come check us out for 3 hours? Why don't you check us out? You have no idea what we're doing. You have no idea.
It's amazing how tolerant you guys saying.
Wait a minute. So somebody's
This
already
is going to be a tremendous opportunity. We're going to be learning a lot today. And we come to fight and
giving the finger over
peaceful protest. Thank you, NYPD.
He's an intellectual man.
He's not wearing a mask. Why is he got a mask?
He's got.
Ignorance is not bliss.
We got to get one of those.
Is ignorance bliss? Do we want to live under the deranged New World Order, under global elite? Do we feel like Bill Gates has a say in how we live? Bill Gates is against Genesis, for God's sake.
He wants us all to die.
He wants us all to die, correct? This is population agenda.
Stone in Georgia.
You're not kidding.
It's true. I mean,
How about Fauci the fraud? Do we like him? No.
He's a garden ornament.
What do we think? He's an honest man? Do we think he's an ethical man?
Genocidal murder.
He's a genocidal murderer. Well said, exactly. And it's funny because people can't imagine genocide in 2020, but I will tell you, and I will go into this a little bit later. I was in Poland 2 years ago. I went through the death camps. I went through Auschwitz-Birkenau. This happened. There were death camps. There was a genocide with showers where people were going to be contained. It was built by the Joseph Goebbels propaganda, Nazi propaganda. That is so important. Why we need to know history. You guys, did you know that of Gen Z citizens, only a third of them know that 6 million Jews are murdered? Did you know that? And it only happened 75 short years ago within our parents' and grandparents' lifetime. We say never forget, never again. And I mean those words. I say never forget, never again. 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 So guys, thanks for coming today. I love each and every one of you. It's always a pleasure to see every single one of you. Non-muzzled, full smile. I feel like a human again. It's great to be here. Just hang tight and enjoy the show.
All right, Charles. Well,
Here we are.
so I mean, we're now sort of part of the movement here in New York City.
Mailing list, okay? So we can let you know what's going on.
Hopefully, more people will be joining us.
I think so. There'll be more speakers.
Yep. I mean, these are people who are really concerned.
Make sure you sign our mailing list so you know we are here every weekend on Sundays at 1 p.m. But make sure you sign the
I'll just
Every
keep on
weekend,
talking
wow.
while you do that to try to make it sound good. It sounds a little weird, to tell you the truth. Hello. We're doing a sound check. The people who would like to speak, I'm going to have to introduce you. So just come on up because we're going to start real soon. As soon as we get the sound ready on this thing. Now, while we're adjusting, you can adjust it. I'll just start saying a few things. I'd like a little more treble, but not too much.
Oh, it's very specific.
Okay, so does that sound like a human voice?
It's the kind of thing Joe
Is it
Biden
loud
would say.
enough?
Yeah.
It's good, right? Okay, that seems pretty good. Right?
He's all about that bass.
Okay, I'll just start out saying a couple of things. Why do people believe the media? As long as they believe that the media is telling them something that's true. If you don't realize that the United States media, including the TV stations, the magazines, and the newspapers, are not, if you don't know, if you are an average person walking around in New York and you believe that anything that they're telling you about any topic is true, or even in the range of being true, it's a little too tinny. Can you, back from it? Oh, well, I don't think you could. I don't think that will.
Okay, we got some technical.
That's what happens with spontaneous.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Just try to turn it to where you had it before. Okay, we'll do that in a few minutes. All right.
It's just hanging by a string.
Listen, I did the whole thing last time. It worked fine.
Oh boy.
Okay, let it go. Let's see if it's good. Oh, because it's twisted.
It's disappointing that there aren't more people behind this, and it's also this is what you see at a grassroots movement, Charles.
Well, that's what this is.
Yes, the amount of equipment and everything that we've seen at these other things, the number of people, just getting that organized,
Yeah,
it takes quite an effort.
Can you do this kind of stuff in Hong Kong now? No, you can't.
got one. Great. Would you like a cartoon?
Sure.
Look here. You can make copies and give them to your friends.
Okay. Thanks.
Hi.
Thank you.
You can make copies and give them to your friends if you like. You know? Hello. How are you? All here.
So, Charles, what about this cyber attack? This guy's talking about the news. I heard about it on the news, but it doesn't seem like anything's been affected by it. And isn't it the same people telling us that who told us that Russia hacked the DNC and that there were weapons of mass destruction and that Syria gassed people? How do we know?
We don't know, but it stands to reason if what you're trying to do is obstruct the audit of the vote,
okay, so
you like to have as many pretexts as possible that to distract. And so you could say there's a hack, and then you could say, oh my God, your vote totals are different, the original vote can never be recovered.
The main problem here with the public in New York City is that they believe what they're being told by the New York Times. They believe it. They believe it. Like today, listen to this, 3,600 coronavirus deaths yesterday in one day in the United States. Right. Okay. Well, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Where are the details? Where did these people? Can you find out any of the details?
Do heart attacks exist anymore?
They don't need to. Yeah, no, they don't. They don't. Heart attacks do not exist. Pneumonia. Okay. Pneumonia doesn't exist.
Hey, everybody, when somebody's speaking here, let's give him the respect or her the respect and listen.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so PIC, pneumonia, influenza, coronavirus. It's a new category. Did people hear about this?
Yes.
You know, so they can conflate everything together and include every death. Maybe there's 3,600 people that die in one day in the United States, but they're all being marked coronavirus apparently. And you cannot get any of the details. You won't get any details from the New York Times. Where did they? We need some investigative reporters here. Who wants to do that? Let's investigate the story. Is anybody in a position to investigate what they mean by 3,600 people died of coronavirus in one day last week? I don't believe this at all, not for 1 minute. The coronavirus waves that came through different locations, like in New York, in March and April, there was a big wave of coronavirus came through. Maybe 10,000 people they claimed died of coronavirus. After 6 weeks, the whole thing panned out. The death rate dropped down to statistical zero. By May the 1st, it was gone. It was gone from New York. No coronavirus, okay? And there hasn't been really any coronavirus circulating in the city of New York for the last 5 or 6 months. You're wearing masks to get something that isn't here. Some people aren't haters. It's not. There is no coronavirus circulating in New York. So when the people were told to wear masks, the coronavirus was already on the way out. It was already on the way out. You're wearing a mask against something. Don't believe the media. If you believe the New York Times, you're going to be misled. You're going to be misled. Okay. Thanks. Okay. All right.
Why should anybody listen to that guy?
That's all I got to say for right now. You know. There's a lot of people that want to come up. Please come up and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give Eric a big hand for organizing this. He's very dedicated.
That's
and
an
it's
Antifa
something
flag.
that we should be really grateful
Why is
for.
that there?
My name is John Coppell, and I'm also an activist. For the last 2 months, I've gone to a rally every weekend. Last weekend I was at the MAGA rally in DC. The week before that I was in Philadelphia. Week before that I was here. And then in Albany before that. Because we know, I think everybody here knows, this is a very sinister agenda. Is that correct? Does everybody know that? Yes. So what I want to suggest is that the rallies are fantastic and we can support one another, but they're not enough. You know, some people have signs. Kevin has, can you show your sign? So and someone else, I don't know if your name's Charlie, he also has a similar sign. But if you see there, in New York State about a month ago, legislation was introduced to make the coronavirus vaccine mandatory in New York State. And, yeah, boo. Fuck that. So, what I want to say is that, Kevin, can you hold it up again for a second? So the bottom one, A11179, is the legislation that makes it mandatory. The one above that is the one that you can support, and that bans any mandatory vaccine in New York State. So I have written, I wrote a letter. We need to speak up. These people are gonna walk all over us if we do not stop them. And I wrote a letter. There are 150 members of the assembly. I wrote an email personally addressed to every one of them. This is what we need to do. I can send you the method that you can do that. It's simple. You copy and paste the letter. You can write your own letter, but I think if you see my letter, it's pretty good. And I'm not saying that because I'm proud of it, but it addresses all the points. I've received, out of the 150, I've received between 10 and 15 responses. Actually, 2/3 of them are on our side.
Wow.
However, that's not an accurate reality of the number of assembly people who are going to support or not support, because the ones that don't write back, they don't write back because they don't want any shit from me. And I do give them shit, I can tell you that. And the lady that sponsored the bill, I have another name for her, I can't really repeat it, but Linda Rosenthal, she lives, or her office is on the Upper West Side on 72nd Street. My suggestion is that we pay that office a visit one day and let her know we are very much against her, what they're doing. Also, you can write Speaker of the House Heastie, Carl Heastie, H-E-S-T-I-E. He's very good. I actually complained to him, his office, they answered the phone there. And I complained about Linda Rosenthal. She doesn't answer the phone at any office. She doesn't respond to any emails. And I think she knows what she's done is wrong, but we have to let her know. So, and all these rallies that I go to, there's a message that almost every speaker gives, and that is to take action like we're doing today. But like I said, if we do not address these people, if we do not contact them, they're gonna run over us. And I don't know if you guys know Ian Smith from New Jersey, the Attila's Gym.
Yeah.
The gym owner who has been, keeping his gym open. He spoke in D.C. last weekend. And, there's a powerful video that went out. Even this latest video, Trump video that went out, he's in that video. And basically he said, if I go down, I'm going down swinging.
Oh, this guy's an asshole.
What did he say?
He said freedom of speech, he's not gonna move, even though I said.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to broadcast audio in public, bro. You're not allowed to broadcast audio in public. We know what you're doing. Get out of here. Yeah, I know you don't, but we're gonna see if the cops do. Excuse me, officer. This individual, he's broadcasting audio at a level that I think has got to be illegal, and he's disrupting the rally. Can you ask him to move? The guy standing right there with the green hat and the boombox that he's playing louder than you're allowed to play music without. The guy with the hat bending over. No. Not the megaphone. This guy with the music. Can you join me over here for a moment so I can show you? This guy, right here, who's being spoken to by that woman. Oh, sorry, it's a guy with long hair. See, he's broadcasting audio at a volume that seems like you're not allowed to broadcast. And he's doing it specifically to, yes. Can you ask him to move it, please? You're allowed to broadcast music at any volume?
Not at this volume.
So aren't you worried that he's going to now disrupt and create a problem at the rally? He's telling these women, fuck you and this and that?
What do you trade it to your
Fuck you! Yeah. Traitor to my country. What? You walked up to me and got involved in a conversation you weren't involved in, moron.
What did the cops say?
The cops said he's allowed to do it.
Really?
The cops aren't worried about idiots like this inciting fights. He is a fucking asshole, but the cops said he's allowed to do it.
Exactly, I'm allowed to. Do you see what hangs from my neck? Do you see what hangs from my fucking neck? I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, as long as it's not a felony.
Good.
Proving your fucking dick.
So stand there and be an asshole, buddy.
Who would be next? I'll just say a couple of things about Linda.
Cops are disgraceful.
All right, now somebody named Linda Rosenthal that lives on West 72nd Street, or she lives on the Upper West Side, and she sponsored a bill, and including the adults, what they're doing. We went out to Staten Island yesterday. I know there were some people I saw that were there. We found out yesterday that what they're doing in the New York City school system is they're forcing these children to take untested vaccines. Untested. They are essentially totally untested vaccines, and they're highly dangerous. They're highly dangerous. Highly dangerous. And if you go to Dr. Bhakti, Sucharit Bhakti, how many people know about Sucharit Bhakti? Somebody just gave me a copy of his book. He explains in a video on Del Bigtree, his program, how the immune reaction comes about when the vaccine, the genetic modification of the cell, causes it to produce antibodies that will be recognized by your immune system, and it can cause an immune overreaction, a cytokine storm that endangers people's lives, and many people have died of that. All right? Now, you forced this vaccine on children without the parents' knowledge or consent. That should be the line. That should be a signal that this is a criminal organization. It is a criminal medical organization that is enforcing their vaccines on the state of New York, and we don't need it. We don't want it. It's totally unnecessary. Coronavirus ripped through here in 6 weeks. It hasn't been back in 6 months. There's no reason for a vaccine. As they have said, there is a cure. There is a cure for coronavirus. Hydroxychloroquine, zinc, will cure it in the first week of infection, every single time, according to highly knowledgeable physicians and medical people from across the world. Now, I would like to get some people to come up here and explain that in greater detail, but the fact is, you have a cure for something. You don't need a vaccine.
Treatment.
You have the cure.
Treatment.
That's what I mean to say.
Let's not use the word cure. It's a treatment.
Okay.
Effective treatment.
It's a treatment, but in many cases, the treatment becomes a cure. According to the Nigerian doctor and the frontline doctors that were in Washington,
The only
D.C.
reason I raise the distinction is that I think it's important that we speak clearly so that statements can't be taken and used against
right.
us.
Okay.
No
well, that's good.
absolutes.
Yeah, you can say it as treatment, and I'll say it that way. They have a very effective treatment that cures people. Let me put it that way. And many people have been cured of coronavirus. Now, well, let's get some other speakers up here and explain these things in greater detail, because the public of New York is being totally stampeded into taking these vaccines and believing that they're doing something that's going to save their health from infection. The vaccines do not prevent you from getting infected. I think we all know that, but the New York public does not know that. They haven't been told, really, have they, that these vaccines do not protect you from infection? They're claiming that the vaccines will reduce symptoms.
Is that right?
80% of the people don't have any symptoms anyway. They don't have any symptoms anyway. They don't have any symptoms to be reduced. So what are 80% of the people doing, taking it to reduce symptoms that they don't even have? And I don't believe that there are any reduction in symptoms, because when you look into the trials and how they conducted them, this is absolutely outrageous fraud with these vaccine trials that out of, you know what they did? Out of 15,000 people, they claimed, okay, we gave you this shot and we gave the other group, the 7,500 some placebo. You know what they did? What Pfizer did? They said, okay, thanks a lot, go home, call us later if you have any symptoms, okay? Just call us. So 75 people called in and they said, we have symptoms, all right, from one group. A few, did they check those people out? Did they go and find out what the symptoms were from? No, they didn't. They just got phone calls. Yeah, some people have symptoms. Okay, we'll write that down. Now, 15 people didn't have symptoms for the other group. But they called in and they said, whatever, 15 people had symptoms for the other group. They just called in. Nothing was checked out. You don't know whether they had coronavirus. The whole thing is,
I'm going to talk to them again.
This is just medical fraud. That's all I can say. It's medical fraud.
Hi.
You should know that they're insurgents. These guys are paid.
He's what?
These guys are paid.
So, officer, I just looked up the law.
Let's wait.
7 decibels above ambient, he's not allowed to do. And I'm measuring it right here. He's well above 7 decibels. Why do you want to stand here and allow that guy to agitate? Not according to what I just looked up. It said it's... Why do you say that? It's 7 decibels above the ambient noise level is not allowed. Why won't you ask him to move? That's not what it says when I looked it up. You just keep saying the same thing.
Won't do anything.
This is disgraceful, okay? So if that guy creates a fight,
Sorry?
then what?
No.
Why don't you
it's going
prevent
from there.
some crime rather than standing here and watch it happen? You know what?
Sorry?
I don't want to defund the police,
can't
but
hear
if
you.
you're going to do nothing, you should be
Yeah,
fired.
that guy is right there, yeah.
You're a disgrace, lady.
So I just wrote a few things down. I'm just going to be looking at my phone.
Goddamn NYPD
Yeah.
doesn't do
It's
shit.
right down there. See? Yeah, red backpack, but he's got a video.
Too bad you
audio.
weren't killed in action, you piece of shit.
Yeah. They won't do anything, guys? Sorry, I'm on here.
But I feel like, this is very similar. And I remember in the early and mid 2000s, 2002 and early 2003.
What's up, you agitating piece of shit?
You want to keep calling me names and shit? I'm just going to walk through this entire shit.
You're breaking the law, asshole.
Go ahead, how?
More than 7 decibels above the ambient level, and you're being an asshole.
Goodbye.
Why don't you
Goodbye.
get the fuck out of here,
Goodbye,
you
you're not
loser?
wanted here. Unless you turn that off. We're having
Weren't you
peaceful
on that
protesters.
vaccinated, you
We're
dumb
having a
bitch?
peaceful protester. Goodbye. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Goodbye, you're not wanted here. You're not wanted here. Get out of here. Goodbye.
Why don't you go lock in your house with a mask on and get a vaccine up the ass, you
It's a
loser?
free public place. Get out of here.
We know you were paid about $50 for that. Bye. You know you were paid. This is what's called an agent provocateur.
Yeah. Oh, and the cops left. The cops left. Right, because they want violence. The cops want violence.
Bye, Felicia.
NYPD is totally ineffective. They're not going to do shit. They're not going to do a damn thing. What? What you got to say, genius? Yeah. Look at all these ignorant, hateful morons. It's a free country, so the police allow idiots to agitate. You know, Charles, when I was assaulted, physically
They
struck.
said to do what?
And I
Call
called the police.
911?
Well, no, that was last month. But when I was actually struck by a guy with a crowbar, the police said, "Well, you shouldn't press charges." It's like, what? What the hell are the police
Then
for?
they'd have to work.
Right. What the hell are the police for? They could have asked that guy, "Listen, these people are having a quiet protest. could you please go away? But they want to wait until he agitates and creates a fight, and then there's violence, and then they can arrest people. Those police are a disgrace. That guy's a disgrace.
So let's get closer. Let's get closer to the
Yeah, let's get closer to exactly.
Carry on, carry on, carry on, ignore him.
Okay.
Fuck him, let's go.
Curtis, can I use your megaphone?
Yeah.
Be louder. Thank you.
Hey,
Pull the blade
is
out.
this louder? And the if you
pulled the
feel like
knife
you
out?
were disrespected,
What do you got? You got a weapon? What do you got? A weapon? Oh no, it's the handle to his radio. It's the handle to his radio. Handle to the radio.
Oh, good. He dropped
we
his
just
chair.
want to speak. If you feel like you're disrespected, sorry about that. But we're just trying to speak here.
Karma's a bitch. Karma's a
I know.
bitch.
So we're.
Did it break?
All right. Well. All right. Thank you.
You broke your stereo. Karma's a bitch.
All right. So I just want to finish what I was saying. All right. Whatever. I'm just gonna ignore him. It's all right. No need to get into a conflict. All right. So anyway, anybody who was here in the city in 2002, early 2003, you remember there were protests all over the city. Okay, and we were protesting government and media lies about Iraq and the threat they pose to our safety. And like today, back then, they were manipulating data, they were fear-mongering, they were using massive propaganda, media propaganda, to convince us all that Iraq posed an existential threat and that we needed to go to war there preemptively and occupy that country. Okay? And that paved the way for more regime change wars, and they're still being waged. Okay? So I just think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from the post 9/11 era and the war on terror and what's going on right now. Okay? And one of the big things that the left was saying back then, and I consider myself on the left, what they were saying back then was that they were pointing out that if we allow our government to destroy...
Well, he pushed him. The guy pushed him first. Don't get too close.
Hang on, guys. No fighting. No fighting. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. No fighting. Don't advance on him. Let him go. Let him leave. Let him leave.
Lock his ass up.
Let him leave.
He pushed it first, though, that guy. The guy with the radio pushed the other guy first.
Did he?
Yes. Yeah. He pushed him right like this, Jason, right in the center of his chest.
Wow.
It's not a box cutter, I don't think. You saw it?
pushed
Really?
you?
By the way, big fan.
Oh, thanks. Hey, nice to meet you. Charles.
Hey, if you're not just a stupid asshole, why don't you get on the stage and say something? I'm not going to kick you out of the fucking park. If you have something to say, get on the microphone and say it.
What's up? Who won it first?
Now you're threatening people.
Who won it first?
Now
Yes,
you're
I'm threatening you. Go
Show
get the
us the
fucking
weapons
phone.
you got, asshole. Where's the cops now?
This is not Marxism.
Get out of here.
New York City punk.
Get lost, man. If you got something to say, get on the mic and say it. Otherwise, get the hell out of here.
Hey, Jason, actually, we should not pay him attention.
He's earning his 50
Just a dope.
Let him earn his $50.
You know what? If anybody did that at a Black Lives Matter rally, the person would be swarmed and beaten
Come
down.
over here closer. Come over here closer to the speaker. Stop wasting your time on the enemy.
Yep.
Come up here.
You got it. You got it.
All right, are we ready to talk?
Yes.
We're listening.
Pretend like
Do you
it's
see the banner?
background music.
We
like
are
it's
here
scoring
against-
our rally.
We are here against the lockdown. Yeah. We are here against the masked Nazis. That's right. We are against you being able to vaccinate kids and not telling their parents. These are schools doing this. These are nurses at schools doing this. These is now, all these people that I grew up with on the left that used to be anti-war are now Nazi mass supporters. Exactly. The people that I can talk to now are the right-wing people. Those are the people I can talk to now because they're not brainwashed liberals. And I'm, as you can see, I'm an anarchist, but that's not the only thing about me. Anarchist means you have to show why you this, why you that. I'm here because I'm against fascism, any type of fascism. Exactly. Medical, government, personal attacks, whatever. You're gonna tell me you're gonna have to take a vaccine, you're gonna kidnap kids and sneakily vaccinate them without telling their kids, you're gonna say you're gonna destroy the economy. As somebody that is working on housing, they have shut that down too. Yeah. Yes. Yesterday, I wanted to get warm to go to my bank. They locked the bank up. We go in with your bank card just to go to the ATM. They had it locked up.
He assaulted you, didn't he?
Pulled the knife.
He pulled a knife.
They surrounded me like they're doing right now. Like they're doing right now.
Arrest him! He's got a weapon! He assaulted this guy! Do something! Arrest him!
Lock him up.
Take him out of here!
Lock him up.
Do something!
Let the cops handle that.
Come back.
The cops aren't doing a damn thing.
Yeah, because they're just here to add to the drama.
Come back to the banner.
Yeah,
We are.
exactly.
Wait a minute.
Sorry,
Can we
continue.
reorganize here? We are here to listen to the speakers.
Right.
Yes.
Let's have our eyes up here. I'm going to get off in a minute. I want to talk about the poverty side of this lockdown, which is ignored.
Yeah.
There is no housing anymore. They have destroyed that because they're not doing it anymore. They said, oh, everything has to be locked down because of a virus that is just seasonal flu on proportions of deaths.
When everybody had the flu, they were
Right.
taking everybody's businesses.
They've had world wars, they didn't lock shit down. They had World War II, they didn't lock down the economy.
Source the truth.
Yeah.
So to say, all of a sudden, because of a virus, lock everything down, we know when you can afford to do that? When everybody has health care. Everybody has a proper, decent place to live. People have a proper social life where their minds are right.
That's right.
They can't lock things down when you have homeless people that can't find a place to live.
That's right.
Because these rich people that are promoting this
Yeah.
can work at home.
The global elite.
They can count their stocks. So this is not about what people think. This is not about left or right. This is not about
over there chatting with him.
Trump or Biden. This is not about the elections. This is about the lockdown, the vaccines, kidnapping kids and not telling them you vaccinated them and not telling their parents. This is about mass Nazis that want to put us on lockdown. I've been on lockdowns. I was in a house of right-wing World War II parents who were violent. So my brother joined the Marines to volunteer to go to Vietnam. He was brainwashed. That's what these mass Nazis are. But if they were just mass obnoxious assholes, they would leave you alone. But these are mass Nazis, there's a difference.
Correct.
They want to kidnap your kids and vaccinate them against your parents' will.
Correct.
They want to make sure everybody can't find a job because everything is closed, destroyed. They don't care because in their eyes we can all go live in a shelter.
Yeah.
And we can eat that crappy prison food which is at shelters. If they really cared about our health, why don't they give us money to go to a health food store?
Exactly.
To get vitamin D.
Exactly.
To get vitamin C.
That's right.
To get zinc.
Vitamin D.
And give us instructions how to eat right.
Right.
Why don't they give us vouchers for proper housing? Not a box with no furniture, with cockroaches. We have to live with 10 people in one little freaking room. That is what's wrong with this lockdown before the lockdown.
That's right.
So now we know, because I do political prisoner work. That's why I have my flag over there. So in case someone tells you an anarchist hates people, that's not an anarchist. That's someone full of shit. And anarchy is not chaos. Anarchy is not, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Nothing, you can be violent, it doesn't matter. Anarchism are the people that were in Spain fighting the fascists. That would have prevented World War II, but has anybody here heard of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade?
No.
Okay, this is why we don't learn history. This is why we don't learn medical history. This is why we don't learn any history. The history you're gonna learn today, you cannot pay for in any college. So you need to be here every single week.
Yeah.
I don't get paid to do this. I'm 57 years old. I've been an anarchist since my 20s. I write to people in jail who are not criminals. They're there because of the state violence. Mumia Abu Jamal, Leonard Peltier. People we know are true freedom warriors like people here right now.
Yeah.
Leonard Peltier should be here right
Fighters.
now. Julian Assange should be here right now.
I agree with that.
All these people are in jail, but now we know what it's like to be in outside jail. The next jail they want to send is in a real prison. They want to put all of us that are against this shit that can think for ourselves. And this is not, last week, somebody came here and said, are you a Trump supporter? I'm like, I'm not here about elections. I'm here for what that nice young man has. The mass Nazis. The vaccine lockdown.
That's right.
Stealing kids and giving them vaccines. The lack of housing. Telling people that you have no place to live, but you can't go anywhere to warm up. You have locked everything down. You can't do that when you have no housing. That is fascism.
That's right.
How many kids here are in this park because they have no place else to go?
Exactly.
They have shut down the youth centers. They have made them liberal waste of time. They don't teach you anything radical. And I mean radical in a good sense. I don't mean radical like breaking windows, being a mass Nazi. I mean radical in the sense of freedom fighters, like the people here right now.
Right.
Julian Assange, yeah, to say my idea must be heard because it's better than the goddamn government's idea. They could have solved this problem if they wanted to the right way. Lock nothing down, no mass Nazis, this is a treatable disease, and not censor the treatments.
Right. Why
The only sense they're doing this, if you use common sense and you look at that cartoon, is brainwashing.
That's right.
An agenda. This is not about curing people, because then they wouldn't charge you money at a health food store. You can walk in and get food that is healthy. But you can go in and get a $1 hamburger at McDonald's that will kill you.
That's right.
You can get a dollar Coke that will stain acid on a battery Coke.
That's right.
There used to be real cocaine in Coca-Cola. Real cocaine used to be in the Coca-Cola drink. So then you're going to tell me, after the Tuskegee experiments, but they didn't tell the inmates what they were giving them, oh, we love you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's like somebody who's a professional hooker saying, I love you. That's your job to say that.
For half an hour.
I'm just trying to be real. Not trying to be crude.
I didn't, but the
But
guy who
the government says, I love you.
Okay.
The guy
You
who was
actually
pushed.
believe that?
No.
We actually don't believe that, right? And it's not about, oh, I believe them or don't believe them because I'm a Democrat or a Republican. Nothing to do with that shit. So this last guy last week was like, I want to get into a fight with you. I'm like, I'm not a politician. I'm an anarchist. I don't vote for these morons. The people that vote for those people, then it's on them what happens to them. Because I bet you half those people that are mass Nazis that are in this problem voted for these people. I wonder how many people go to demonstrations voted for these same people that put you in this situation. All right, so he's going to change batteries and I'll get off in 2 seconds. My advice is to burn your, since we don't have a draft anymore, but we have a medical draft. The medical draft is the mass Nazis. That's the medical draft. Don't join the medical draft. Burn your voting card. Burn your AMA card. And if you want to learn to real doctors, go listen to Gary Knoll.
Right.
WBAI, 99.5. And the doctors he says you should listen to. The doctors that have been in Washington exposing that their remedies work and they're not being allowed to be used.
That's important.
So if you can't go to hospitals and get the treatment you want with the treatments from your doctor that you pick, not the AMA, mass Nazi doctors, we live in a medical police state. So I'm working on political prisoners. We need a different healthcare system. Totally different. All these doctors need to be arrested for fraud.
That's right.
AMA needs to be arrested for fraud.
Yeah. Fire Fauci.
And the media, of course. So I'll be over there. I'm working on an alternative model of what we have now, a holistic healing center. Dr. Shakur, and I'll leave with this. Sure. All right. Dr. Shakur used to treat people with drug problems, and he cured them. Anybody here know who Dr. Shakur is? You should know who that is. Especially young people. He joined the Black Panthers when the Black Panthers actually did something for everybody. If you went to a Black Panther medical clinic, you didn't have to be black. You could be white and work there.
Was
All
he
they
related to
cared
Asada
is-
Shakur?
Yeah.
Oh, but she killed a New Jersey police officer.
No, not to her. I'm talking about Lincoln Hospital, where they were treating drug addiction without
That was the Weather
methadone.
Underground that took that over.
And that's you believe that crap?
It was Bernadine
in what?
Doran's sister took that
It
over.
was in what? It was in corporate media.
I'm not so sure that that's something that everybody
Yeah,
should be
it is
supporting.
because there is no treatment for drug addicts now. The treatment now is
taking over
methadone
a
and
hospital.
ignoring it. All these parks have young people whose lives centered around drugs and doing it all day in the parks. So yeah, it does affect you. There's no treatments being done that work right now.
Right. They're just trying to mask victims.
Right.
They're not healing anything. They're trying to tell us our business.
Well, Charles, to be clear, I don't support that takeover of Lincoln Hospital by Bernadine Doran's
Yes,
sister.
the white guys is
Weather
angry
Underground.
that black people did something when they used to actually
Hang
do
on
something.
now. I did not say that black people did something. I said the Weather Underground took
I'm
over
not talking
that
about the
hospital.
Weatherman Underground. You were talking about it.
You're talking about the takeover of Lincoln Hospital,
Yes.
and you're making it racial. I think you should step off the stage because you're
No, I
misquoting
don't
what I
think
said.
I should. Sure, I'm just finishing up. He was curing people 1,000 a day, and they were not on methadone.
1,000
And they
a
were
day.
then
I don't know
successful
where this
people.
guy's getting his records from.
So we
I
have to
disagree
do
with what
something
this
about
guy's
the
saying.
EMA. That's an alternative
It's
to what
hijacking
we
of
have
this
out here now.
protest. It's got nothing to do with the Asada Shakur. It's got nothing to do with the Black Panthers. It's got nothing to do with the takeover
Thank
of Lincoln
you.
Hospital.
Yeah, and
It's got
we don't have
nothing
to all
do with
agree
that.
on everything. It's okay, right? Who cares? I mean, this is about the lockdown and everything, so let's be one on that issue.
Right on. Well said.
This is good now, the mic?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so I'll just finish what I was saying before about the post 9/11 era and how this is similar. Basically, the one thing I really remember that a lot of people on the left were saying was that if we let the government destroy and violate people's rights abroad to preemptively wage illegal, immoral wars on innocent people, that it was only a matter of time before that tyranny came home to roost. And I think that's what's happening right now in a way. Because everything that they're doing now is a continuation of what they started then. And the other thing I wanted to say was that if people don't resist and think that this is going to stop anytime soon, obviously it's not. Has anything since the war on terror stopped? The wars are still going on. All right, I meet people who young people who don't even remember a time when the government couldn't spy on you, when they couldn't collect all your data, when being a free person meant you had privacy. They don't remember that. So what's going to happen to this generation? They're not going to remember that people can be in a room together without being masked, with it being okay. You know, God, I think they know. I think this is about the old people, the sick people, and the young people. They know what masking these kids is going to do. We don't know, but I bet they know. They've probably tested this on other populations. What is this going to do to them when they grow up and they're in charge? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was how all of a sudden the governor and the mayor, they're all like kings now. They're kings and they can order that people have to shut down their businesses.
Open your restaurants! Tyrants!
Yeah, that people have to can't eat together in a room. The governor, the mayor, or unelected health authorities, you can't eat together in a room with other people. Okay, the worst thing I think that people should be talking about is the way they're treating old people in nursing homes and assisted living facilities and stuff. They're keeping them isolated this whole time. They're at the mercy of the medical bureaucracy or the hospital bureaucracy. Hospitals are shut down. People can't visit their dying relatives. So that, I think, is going to be like how the Patriot Act and warrantless, how they're spying on us. That's going to be what, in 10 or 20 years, that generation's not going to comprehend. They're not going to understand that there was a time when old people and sick people didn't lose their rights and were treated like prisoners by the government and by the medical community. All right, so there's all these things. I think we need to organize to stop that. And to stop this from happening again. Somehow we need to figure out to get these, make that so the governors and mayors can't do this. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll figure something out.
That's right.
And the last thing I'll just say is, I really think they want to divide us. They want to keep the left and the right at odds, okay? And exactly. And what I've been realizing is that the left and the right cannot be in opposition, or we're never going to win. I think the natural state of the left and right is a yin and yang position, and they've screwed it all up, and they have us thinking we're in opposition. So that keeps us completely off balance, because the left and the right both have strong points and weaknesses, blind spots and strengths, and we need to have each other's back. Kind of like in the post 9/11 era, maybe the left had a point. In this era, maybe the right does, and the people in power know that, and they go back and forth between us. They know our weaknesses, they know our strengths, and they're doing this to keep us in opposition when this is exactly. This is about freedom versus totalitarianism, and it's nothing less than that. So we need to work together, the left and the right, to work to secure our freedoms, secure our liberty, which doesn't come from the government. I know everyone's been saying this, but it's true. Our liberties and our freedoms and our rights do not come from the government. They come from God or the universe or natural law, whatever you want to call it. That's where our rights come from. So then they come from the universe and natural law, if you're an atheist. So they don't come from the government. So we need to come together in our yin and yang position, which is our natural position, like the brain, the left and the right brain. It needs to be in harmony. We need to come together to defend our freedom, okay? All right, thank you.
So you want to get up here, Gary?
Move it back half a foot so the
Half a
feedback
foot?
stops.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. I don't know what to do here. How's that gonna? Don't put me on. I'm just jumping up here.
It's got to be behind.
Don't put me on the spot like that. All right. Guys, I'm really happy about this. On Sundays, I have something to count on. I have a community to count on. I don't even want to leave the city on Sundays anymore. This is awesome. I love you guys. And I don't want to say anything that's going to disrupt our flow with showing up on Sundays, but we got to step up. Yeah. Hanging out in a social club on Sundays is great. Don't want it to. I want more, but we got to step it up and take action. So, you know, I want you to reach out to me, Curtis, and Beth, and we're going to keep going. And, you know, we have options, right? We have a Pfizer building right here on 42nd and 3rd. Yeah. We can occupy their lobby so they can't go to work. Yeah. We got that. We got Whole Foods right here who's trying to get away with cashless society, cards only BS, owned by Amazon, enforcing masks, but they're allowed to do business. You got John Castimedes, the head of the GOP, who owns several supermarkets in this city, owns oil pipelines and the whole nine, and he owns natural gas pipelines, and he drills and mines gas while they're expanding natural gas in the city. His pocket is not hurting at all, and you need his blessing to run for mayor in the GOP. We could go to his supermarket and occupy that and have him get down here. So we could do a lot of stuff. Coming out here on Sundays is really, really important. Is that happening right now?
Yes, I saw on Facebook.
Is that happening right now? Listen, guys.
Man of the people, right here.
Guys.
Listen to him.
I just don't see any of these politicians who are throwing their hat in the ring with a vision for the city.
They're tyrants. Tyrants. All the same shit. Dictators. The same shit all over again.
I have a vision for the city. And the vision for the city is we all come up together. We all have to come up together. It can't be about one person and one hero. We have 51 city council seats. And I need you, doesn't matter where you live. As long as you live in the city, you could run for one of those city council seats. I need people to step up and run for city council and borough president with me. Yeah. Okay? I'm running for mayor. Yeah! I'm running for mayor in New York City. And the only reason why I'm running is because I know I have a vision for the city. Whether I win or not, they are going to hear my vision. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did that guy assault you?
He just pulled a knife.
Pulling a knife?
And you could consider it assault.
Sounds like assault to me. Why did the cops allow him to stay if he pulled out a knife?
They got rid of it.
No, he's right there.
He's right over there,
right
smoking a joint.
As long as I don't hear a lot of noise, I'm okay with anybody being here.
I'm so happy that he's waiting there to do his next thing.
Yeah, Linda Rosenthal, she's a state assemblywoman who's sponsoring this bill. Where's that sign about that bill forcing everyone to take the vaccine? Okay, Danny, are you still here?
That's Kevin.
No, the guy that was just up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this woman, Linda Rosenthal, she's sponsoring a bill to make everybody in New York State take a vaccine. Do you know about that? Well, where is her district? Is she in the assembly or state assembly? And she's from the Upper West Side, right? Well, who's here from the Upper West Side? Who lives up there? Anybody here? Okay. You guys, let's have a meeting about this. Let's get somebody to run against her right away.
Well, that's in 2 years. Right now we have 51 city council seats
Oh, I see.
right here in the city.
When is the election?
And just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, we need money to send out the message. The mainstream media has pounded us and brainwashed us for the last several months. Ingraining everyone to believe this horse crap. And it's all horse crap. And the only way we're going to get that message out that this is horse crap, there's people standing up, we're not wearing your masks because it's like the Star of David, we're not doing it, is with our own media and our own money behind us. If you get out in a race for city council, it's not that hard to get the threshold. You need like 75 donations. You can get 6-to-1 matching funds. So every time you get raised $1,000, the city will give you $5,000 to make it 6. And us together can continue to raise that money from our districts and all over the city and just line up the city and line up the media with health conscious, fighting medical tyranny, preserving our freedom, and a new vision that's actually going to work for the city. This is the only way we're going to be able to fight our way out of this. I need people to step up, please. You just got to sign up at the Campaign Finance Board. All you need, if you don't want to be in a party, if you want to run independent, all you need is 450 signatures from your district. And then you're on the ballot. It's really easy. But we what? I can't even understand you.
What's your name?
450 signatures.
Okay. Hello. I just want to tell, the other day we got a new 5G thing in our apartment, and okay, so the other one was already something close to it, but my bed is like like a few 6 feet from that thing, and I'm telling you, I couldn't even breathe anymore. I can't breathe, so I had to shut the fucking thing off. And I can tell you, people, I have this suspicion that this fucking 5G has something to do with our problem in this country, and they're lying to their teeth. And we can say a lot more things, but also we do need to support our president, because it seems that he's just very, very smart. I hope that he loves the vaccine so much that maybe that is going to make the difference, right? I hope so.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Come on, Karen.
How you doing, man? We're on air actually right now.
Karen is a brilliant doctor. Listen to this.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah.
She's very brave.
Go, Karen.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
It's good to see all these freedom lovers here.
Yeah.
I was on my way here today,
live on
and
air
I'm driving along, and it's raining, it's hailing, it's sleeting. I'm thinking to myself, nobody's gonna be there.
We
And here you all are. I'm so happy to see you. Here we are again. Here we are still. We are not going away.
No!
What a time we are living in.
What a time.
Most amazing time. And this is what we call civil disobedience.
That's right.
This is the way we are going to conquer tyranny.
That's right.
We're going to talk, we're going to speak, we're going to listen. We are going to be the light in the darkness.
That's right. Light workers.
So this week we're approaching the winter solstice.
Tomorrow.
The dark winter is here.
Tomorrow, I think.
We're at a turning point. The planets are in alignment, in conjunction. If you look in the sky, you'll see it in the southwest. Our freedoms are being systematically dismantled. Our city is shut down because of tests that are inaccurate and telling us that we can't be together, we can't be with each other to celebrate our holiday. We're admonished to avoid each other during this most holy and sacred time.
That's right.
Meanwhile, the COVID-19 vaccines are being approved for emergency use.
Not an emergency.
For a virus that most of us are already immune to. By pharmaceutical companies of questionable integrity, with no liability due to the PrEP Act. While microbiologists such as Sukrit Bhakti warn us that this is downright dangerous.
That's right.
And may well have extensive short-term and long-term consequences for us and for our children. And Dr. Simone Gold rightly declares this to be the biggest experiment ever done. This is not a vaccine, this is a worldwide medical experiment.
That's right. Genocide. Genocide.
We're injecting messenger RNA and DNA into ourselves and into our children. And no one will be responsible for the consequences.
No liability.
We must stand up against this tyranny.
That's right.
We must put our money where our mouths are, and some of us have a lot to lose by saying no. We won't be tested.
No!
No, we won't undergo a medical procedure that's unwarranted. When we're not sick, why should we be tested?
We will not comply!
When the tests are inaccurate, why should we comply?
That's right.
But it's a hard job because they tell us if you don't comply, you can't work. You can't travel, you can't fly, you can't...
Social financial exclusion.
That's why they call it civil disobedience, because we must disobey in order to save ourselves from tyranny.
That's right. That's right.
So here comes this vaccine, and the punchline is it will not prevent infection. You'll still need to wear a mask and social distance. However, do not let your heart be troubled, because you are the light. We are the light.
That's right.
And we will overcome this dark night of the soul. I bring you tidings of great joy. Hang tough. That's the great joy. No, I'm not. Hang tough, be strong. Be the light and follow your inner voice. Because beyond this dark winter is a beautiful new spring. A great awakening is coming, and we will witness it coming here to ourselves now. God bless everyone.
Welcome, New York. My name is Stan Littman, and speaking of politics, I ran for office 17 times in Seattle. I went to NYU. It was like Escape from New York in 1981. I swore I'd never come back, and I didn't come back for 39 years. But Seattle is so unbearable, here I am. What I learned 20 odd years ago when I had a gonzo journalist showed me a video of the voting office in Seattle, right? He took his camera in there and he showed me, he said, what are these modems doing here? And he said, told him, oh, those are hooked up to the Seattle Times. They need to know what's going on. Now, what? Our elections have been rigged.
That's right.
Our elections have been rigged. That's why I've lost 17 times. I ran for mayor, for city council, for attorney general. I ran for monorail board. I ran for county executive. I ran for county council. This year I ran for superintendent of public instruction. I got about 70,000 votes, but that wasn't enough, obviously. So there are a lot of reasons. So I've also written the paper. You can look it up, Stan Littman, The Law of Vaccination, when I was in law school. It's regarded as the best paper on the dangers of vaccines, regarded by professors at Yale, by the founder of the anti-vaccine movement, Dr. Vera Schreiber in Australia, cold called me to thank me.
Wow.
So nobody knows about it. It's still up there on the web. Just search for it, and you'll learn all about the problems with the vaccines. I know about the problems with the voting machines. For example, in Canada, did you know this? Everyone does a paper ballot, and everyone sits around a table and counts it. Duh! We spend billions of dollars on these fraudulent machines that are owned by foreign powers. Okay? So that's an essential problem. You're never going to win an election until we just go back to sanity. Now, how hard is it for the community in the precinct to stand there and watch them count the votes? No tech, You can't trust the tech. And so that's another element that if you want to win elections and take our power back, we're going to have to be honest elections, because we haven't had them in this country for a very, very long time. And it's just gotten worse. So we need to know who killed Kennedy. We need to know who blew up 9/11. Now, I told this story to a big crowd in Seattle. I was running for city council. When I was at NYU, inflation was 18%. All my childhood savings was being wiped away from me. So I've been woken up. I've been woke for decades and decades. I've been fighting them for decades. And this is a great moment. It's not even clear who's going to be president January 20th. Because if the people come together and the generals see who the people are on, whose side they're on, then that's the end of the fraud. So don't give up hope about what's going to happen on January 20th.
Yeah, think about the May 5th and then something.
Now, I have to tell you a very horrible story. I was so angry and alienated when I was a teenager going to NYU in the 70s. The first bank machines, the city bank machines, were on LaGuardia Place, right? Remember the first machines? And every time I needed money, I'd walk down from Washington Square down to the bank machine, and what's down at the end of LaGuardia? What was down at the end of LaGuardia Place? Remember? No, way down at the end, at the tip of Manhattan. Remember what you'd see? You'd see these two towers going way up. Right. And I had a very horrible prayer, and I had a vision of those buildings coming down. And they came down. The same people have been running this ever since the Federal Reserve came in. So ever since we went bankrupt, ever since we went bankrupt in 1933, and they sold our souls to Social Security. And now, one other story before I go. I was in Moscow in '92 after the collapse, because I was a guest of the French government working in the nuclear physics lab. I'm an atomic scientist, and I was working on fusion energy. Because I believed in global warming, which is a complete fraud. I was sterilizing food in my lab, and I couldn't get the UV through 2 feet. So how is ozone hole going to give us cancer? So I looked up the final report from the UN. It says, oh, this is just a theory. My best friend, who recently died, told me at a conference that, oh shit, I never told anyone in my life. I never told my wife this. But I was kidnapped in the 70s and sent to Ann Arbor, Michigan to spy on a DuPont-sponsored professor, and that was all about the fact that the Freon patent was expiring. So they had to demonize Freon. And so millions of people in Africa have died of no refrigerator. It's terrible. These people have been at it for a long time. They've been all the I was an attorney, I was a scientist. They're all in on it. It's all about the money. My friend at MIT is a professor there. He's got $100 billion for Bill Gates for this stupid machine. It's not going to work. I asked him, don't you realize this stuff, the global warming is a hoax? And he's screamed and ran away from me. That's what a coward he is.
That's what cowards do.
Okay, so I mean, I have some gifts, so I was able to see this decades ago, and I'm really gratified. It warms my heart that finally some of us are waking up, finally. But this is not a new problem. This is not a new tyranny. We've been under tyranny ever since the Federal Reserve came in and took our money away from us. One last thing, I remember, I'm old enough, I'm 61, I remember when I was a little kid, my dad would take me to the gas station at Oil City in Pelham, whatever, right? And you'd pay a quarter for a gallon of gasoline. We had real silver coins, right? Until 1964. They shot Kennedy because he was going to make silver certificates, and they took our silver coins away the next year. So why can't we get back to sanity? The whole principle of trust between any two human beings is this. Somebody had to dig that out of the ground and refine it. So when you give somebody that token, it means something. It means that somebody labored to produce that. And money should be about a token of trust between human beings. It's not. One more thing, I was in Moscow, I started telling you. So I was.
One more thing.
One last one.
They call it the nightmare, Kashmar. They take the French word. Everyone's walking around Moscow in '92 saying, Kashmar, Kashmar.
We're not taking this vaccine.
So I went to the Lenin Museum at Red Square. And I realized I needed to go to the bathroom. So I go down there, and of course there's no toilet paper, there's no food in the supermarket. I said, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? And then I realized I had a light bulb go off in my head. And the ruble note with Lenin's face on it, right, was the size of a dollar bill.
We don't know. We
There was
don't want to know
1,000
about
ruble
this.
notes to the dollar. So I had a big stack of them. It was cheaper than toilet paper. And I wiped my ass with his face in his own museum. And that's where we're going. That's where they're printing trillions. They printed 3 trillion this year. They printed 3 trillion next year. So the system is definitely going down. If we don't wake up, we're going to be Venezuela in 10 years or 5 years.
Maybe 2 years.
Or 2 months.
And I'm trying to tell my dad to buy some gold, but he won't. But anyway, thank you very much.
Did that shock the kids in the audience?
Just before the next speaker. Let's keep getting together every week. If it's cold weather, we can do indoor deployment. Somebody brought this up. They call it a deployment. You know, it's like a military term. You go into either Grand Central Station. We might have to wear masks or we'll get thrown out. But let's create some written.
No, we don't wear the mask. We go.
Okay, whatever. Well, you want to do that? It's fine. But let's get together every Sunday. And if we just keep mobbing people together, just keep mobbing together all the time, we are going to create a new political movement.
That's right.
And we're going to create our part of the political movement. Now, if you go to Staten Island yesterday, you can see that a new political movement is developing in Staten Island. They are going to overthrow some of these people that are running them into the ground out there. Scott Libido and all those people, they're serious. They want those people out. So I believe that this is a growing numbers of independent groups are rising up because they know what's going on. This is for people that know what's happening, okay? Like Curtis. Hey!
Okay, happy Sunday, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope everyone is well. Thank you. This is it's one of the highlights of my week. It's such a pleasure to see, New Yorkers without their face diaper on, their muzzle. It's a pleasure to see their smile and not just the zombie dead eyes compelled to their computers. Every morning I come out of my apartment, I say good morning, I get ignored. That's fine. I try to cling to the light. I believe in God, in the very fibers of my body, and I know that even with all the bad, there is good in this as well, and this is one of the beautiful byproducts that is emerging, that I'm seeing heroes emerging. I just want to say a little bit about myself. I grew up in Los Angeles. I moved to New York in 1993. And one of the things that really impressed me about New Yorkers was that fierce tenacity, that brazenness, that ability to ask questions, that ability to be a discerning consumer, that chutzpah, right? Remember that? Remember New Yorkers that ask questions, you didn't tolerate shit? Remember that? I do too, and it's so unfortunate to me, and it's so disgraceful to me that I'm seeing my fellow New Yorkers following as submissive, docile, compliant sheep, and unfortunately, you know, it's really our local government that has converted the masses. And, you know, it's very interesting. I was watching this earlier today. I was watching about Joseph Goebbels. And if you don't know who Joseph Goebbels is, I highly recommend you look into who he was. He was the ambassador of Nazi propaganda. Because how was it that Adolf Hitler was able to create a Nazi regime? How was it that you had ordinary German citizens that were down with their Jewish neighbors being whisked away into cattle cars and into death camps being murdered? Oh, I don't get involved in politics. Oh, I will look the other way. Oh, I don't want to mess with my livelihood. People will think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, as a third-generation American, as an American Jew, I had the privilege of going to Poland 2 years ago, and it was a really eye-opening, illuminating experience because it made me recognize the depths of depravity in which man can lie without a framework of God, and also it made me realize, I guess, going back to Goebbels, that it was part of the Nazi propaganda machine. You know, Goebbels would use even specific colors. He would use red to be very flashy. He was the massive marketing. He would create cartoons of Jewish people with very large noses, and that they were greedy, and they created this whole propaganda, and that the Jews were the ones with the virus. So, well, they had to go to a containment camp, or what we do as a concentration camp. It's hard to imagine, and unfortunately this is part of the problem, is that, you know, if we look at statistics, Generation Z, which is our 23 and below set, their minds have been hijacked by big tech. I'm going to say that again. Their minds have been hijacked by big tech. Out of the Generation Z, in a recent study, 30%, only 30% knew that 6 million Jews were murdered. Holocaust education does not begin and end with knowing that 6 million Jews were murdered. Holocaust education begins with asking questions like, how? Why? How could this happen on their watch? And you have to realize that people's minds were hijacked. And you know, it only happened 75 short years ago. It happened in many people's parents' lifetime, people who are here within their lifetime, and grandparents' lifetime. So it's not so out of the realm of possibility. Guys, we really have to educate ourselves. You know, this psychological warfare that they are performing on us is really, it's nothing short of astonishing. It is a crime against humanity to look at my fellow man with fear and contempt. I mean, it's outrageous. We are made in the image of God, and now we're looking at we're afraid and we're allergic to our fellow man. Give me a break. The jig is up. We've got to take our power back. We've got to take it now, because these people are tyrants. They are tyrants. Okay, so I love what Danny said earlier. That was great. You know, this rally is amazing, and there are leaders that are emerging, and it's phenomenal. But we've got to do some fun performance art pieces, right? We've got to do some things that really waken things up, because let's face it, we live in a viral world now. We want to get stuff onto camera, right? And we had a great little shopping trip yesterday, and I'd love to repeat the same today. And today's your opportunity. I need just 5 volunteers who will join me into Whole Foods going in. I'm going to set my stereo speaker up. I'm going to be playing We're Not Going to Take It by Twisted Sister. Right? I'm an 80s kid. I love that song. And we're going to come in and we're going to be very respectful. We're not street trash. We don't use violence. We use our words and we use our minds. Right? So we're going to go in, but we're going to go in without a face diaper. So please join me.
Business though, to go in there with music. I don't think that's a good idea.
All right.
Well, I guess it's over, huh?
No, they're going to come back. Sorry?
Standing outside and doing it?
I don't know what they're going to do.
Standing outside and doing it is one thing, but going in there with music, I don't think that's agitating.
Maybe we can watch from a distance, I suppose, if you want.
Well, let's take a walk over here for a second, Charles. Thank you. Thank you. No, we're not leaving. We just come over here and have a little commentary. What's that? Well, we're live. Okay. So, Charles, what do you think? We got a lot of different opinions, a lot of different.
It's as I said. I mean, this gentleman's comments were spot on. That this is not a movement really between. It's not right versus left. It's right versus wrong. They sold us this idea that you're going to redress inequality as if that's a good thing by superimposing upon bloated governments at city, state, national level, regional bureaucracy, global bureaucracy with no accountability. It's just it's wholesale robbery. And the simple fact is, the sad fact is, I'm 64, almost 65, that for my entire adult working life, the experts have been wrong. Absolutely, completely wrong. They have sold us out to the Chinese Communist Party. They've put us at loggerheads with Russia, which I've never actually been to Russia for more than a short snowmobile trip in from Finland for like 6 hours. Don't ask me what I was doing there, but it really was just a vacation in the winter. So I don't, while I appear regularly on Russian media and other media, I don't understand why we hate the Russians. I don't get that. Nor do I understand why we are going to support the Chinese Communist Party and the thugs that took one of the great cities in the world, Hong Kong, and reduced it to rubble. I mean, in terms of freedom.
Yeah, I mean, since 1993, Russia has become more like the United States than China is.
Well, I was talking to, so I do a lot of interviews on Sputnik, and I was talking to the person yesterday on Skype who asked me the questions and writes the stories up, and she pointed out, you've talked to her, Katya Ivanova, a great journalist, she pointed out that the vaccine is not mandatory in Russia. They decided it couldn't be mandatory in Russia. I mean, here we're saying it's got to be mandatory because a douchebag, Cuomo, and a dickhead, de Blasio, you know, who are incompetent at what they do, have decided that they're medical experts.
So how much is an apartment in Moscow, Charles?
I don't know. If you just show up, I guess we could squat.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really concerned about what we're seeing in terms of local government right here. Those cops refused to even say to that guy, hey, why don't you play the music somewhere else so we don't have some kind of incident? That woman could have come over and politely asked him, even if it is your right to do it, these people have their right, why don't we avoid a conflict, give him some friendly advice. Instead, it came to him pushing a guy and taking out a knife.
I know, it's outrageous. I mean, we've been to a lot of BLM rallies, and the deference that is paid to people who stand up and say, this is not about Black Lives Matter. The leader, Hawk Newsom and his girlfriend, we were this far away from the Columbus Circle, whenever that was, in May or thereabouts. She gets up and says, I'm running for Congress not to help the country, but to burn it down. You know, and people are advocating that, and they're now stealing the bulk of the money that has been raised.
Oh, sorry, Charles, look, this kid is speaking. Let's see what he has to say.
Why do you social distance? And they'll say something like, well, we have to take precautions, all the measurements. You do too. If social distancing works, why do lockdowns? They'll say, like, same thing, and I'm like, number 3, if social lockdowns work, why are the cases on the rise? And then
you can go straight to graduate school.
And then you say, if the vaccine works and is like effective, why do you still have to wear the mask? And do the first 3. And then you ask them, if they believe that this vaccine is safe and effective, why are the manufacturers protected from liability? That's my question. So you can't sue them. If you get cancer, turn into a horned alien in 3 years, you can't sue them. Everyone you can sue is the government. Off of this vaccine, Pfizer and Moderna will make $3.5 billion. If I got $1 million, I could live my whole life without having to work. And they'll get $3.5 billion. Do you think they're going to try and prove that their vaccine doesn't work? Like, think about it. You're about to make $3.5 billion. Are you going to try and prevent that? No. The point of a scientific study is to prove yourself wrong, not right. So if I want to, like...
What grade are you in?
6th.
You
should run for mayor.
I don't know.
Go ahead, go
It's
ahead.
not smarter.
Let it flow, let it flow.
You're way smarter than AOC.
How do you think PGAs are going to be affected by this?
I think that they're just going to be wearing masks and they're going to be like, oh, one person dead is too much.
That's crazy.
The way they're counting this is crazy. Like, why is it that you don't have so much deaths from a flu? It's because if somebody dies with the flu, they count it as complications from another comorbidity. Say I have diabetes and heart disease.
No pictures, no pictures, no pictures.
And so, if you get the flu and you have 2 or more comorbidities, they used to say, oh, he died of complications of other comorbidities. Now they're counting, oh, so he had cancer, but he died from the coronavirus. And does anybody ever wonder why there's SARS-CoV-2 and that there is COVID-19? What's the difference? COVID-19 are the symptoms, SARS-CoV-2 is the infection. This vaccine is the COVID vaccine, the symptom vaccine, not the infection vaccine.
There you go.
So all this vaccine is doing is stopping mild headaches. Mild headaches. So I have mild headaches, and for that, I'm gonna inject some weird poison into my body.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very smart, Timothy. You know what?
What do your friends say about the virus and the vaccine and the masks?
They say this. Oh, I'm getting annoyed with you. Like,
With you?
Then they
Yeah.
are cowards,
What do they say
and
to
you
you?
are
What do they
brave.
say to you, like other people?
That's all they say. I'm like, well, did he know that the size of the pores in the mask are 200 times bigger than the virus? They're like, Dr. Fauci said to wear it. Well, yeah, he also said not to wear it. Like, This virus has ended because hydroxychloroquine. So the NIH did a study before COVID that showed that hydroxychloroquine worked and they used it against malaria. So why are they silly saying it's anecdotal? It's like, so there is a cure that exists, but it's anecdotal. There's a vaccine unicorn that doesn't exist, so it's also anecdotal. So first you have to come up with that vaccine, and you gotta prove that's not anecdotal. When here you gotta prove that's not anecdotal. What's better? What's better? Dr. Buttar, the list of all of those guys, like Zelenko, Dr. Zelenko. He has 99% efficacy rate in COVID patients. What does he use? Hydroxychloroquine. Lockdowns. How many people? Like, even if you go on 5th Avenue, there are 2 tents with homeless people. That's a California thing, not a New York thing.
This kid is smart. Is your school going to force you to get vaccinated?
I'm homeschooled. I was kicked out.
That's why you're so smart.
I was kicked out a year ago for not being vaccinated because, you pose a risk to vaccinated kids and kids who can't have vaccines. Also, have you seen how anti-vaxxers go to a vaccine company and they don't want to shake your hand? They're like, oh, you're posing a risk. If the vaccine works, why be afraid of unvaccinated people? You're protected, right? I mean, you're protected. Let me die. I'll say to you first, you're saved. Mask.
Say with the mask. Say with the mask.
Yeah, like,
How about a round of applause for your parents for doing such a good job raising you?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Single
Very
mom.
well done.
She's a single mom since my birth.
Wow. Very well done, man.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you for raising him.
Yeah, like if I go to the playground and I try to like hang out, they're like, oh, wear a mask, you're not protecting my child. I'm like, your child's wearing a mask.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Like, that's like taking that fence right there. You guys see that fence? It's saying that's getting protected from a mosquito. Is that getting protected from a mosquito? So I ask kids, and what do they say? They say, oh, the virus can get in, but it can't get out. So it can go inside of the fence, but it can't come out.
Less
It's
than
magically
50
trapped.
kids, less than 50 kids under 14 have died from COVID-19.
Yes, and who are those kids? They're
Less
like
than
kids
50.
with very like comorbidities, like
Could be cancer, could be anything.
It's like
More
having the
children
cold.
died during the swine flu, and
Absolutely.
there was no, oh my God, the swine flu.
What did Thomas
And there was
Paine
like
say?
60
heart
million
disease.
cases.
How much people die from heart disease every year? 650,000.
More than 500,000.
COVID-19, if they didn't start saying this all around on the news, we wouldn't even notice the change in the virus.
Right.
It would just be a tiny change, like you take a mosquito and you paint it and you put a red dot on it. Exactly, that is what changes. Oh, so it sucks out one teeny tiny microbe more of blood. And now it's gonna kill all these people. So it was like the flu, and suddenly.
I want more from you than any teacher.
Well, I mean, I hear this all from the high wire, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Alex Jones. He's a conspiracy theorist, guys. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. In February, what did he say? There's going to be HIV in the coronavirus. Right now, what are they saying? Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. By the way, there's false positives for HIV. Like, dude, so the only difference between Alex Jones and the government is that the government says what they're doing is good, and Alex Jones says what they're doing is bad.
That's right.
Only difference.
That's right.
So I want you all to be in Washington, D.C. January 6th, marching for President Donald Trump against this fraud.
All right, for this kid.
Good job.
Are you on
Twitter?
Is he on Twitter? Is he on Twitter?
Oh, yeah. Great job.
Shocked.
You are
Okay, my
really
name
smart.
is Josephine, and I am.
Are you on Twitter or social media?
Yeah.
Everybody wants
So
to
I
shake your
am
head.
shocked that this 11-year-old child, you're 11, right?
Yeah.
Understands, but when I try to talk to other adults, the answer that they give me is that of a robot that just sits at home watching TV and does not question anything. And it's extremely scary to me that people my age, people that are old enough to be my parents and grandparents, do not have the same thinking of this 11-year-old child. So when we have a society that is like that, that is extremely scary, because that is a society that is going to be easily manipulated and that is going to do whatever the government tells him to do, even if it ends up taking their rights away.
Yes.
So this child over here is a genius. When you get older, if you can run for some kind of office, if I'm alive, I would definitely vote for you. Because when an 11-year-old is able to understand the science behind it and the manipulation, and adults do not get it, something is clearly wrong with our society and the world that we live in today. And I just want to say something. We still continue seeing Cuomo trying to shut down this business. The other day, a New York business owner committed suicide. Why? Because he couldn't take it anymore. Imagine you working for your livelihood for years, to have the government shut it down, to have all your hard work go to nothing. Meanwhile, Cuomo gets a $25,000 raise.
And an Emmy.
Meanwhile, de Blasio is comfortable at the Gracie Mansion while possibly 19 million Americans by December 31st might be homeless because they have no money to pay for their rents.
And nominated for an Emmy.
That too. How in the world can you be so narcissistic that while New Yorkers are suffering, are in debt, have their children at home, and you have the nerve to sit here and give yourself an award for doing such a good job while we're still sitting here struggling? And we should have way more people here. There should be more New Yorkers here. But they're so brainwashed into wanting to be so dependent on the government that thinking that the government is doing this for their own safety and their own goodness. Meanwhile, you see the same people that are telling you to stay home, the same people that are telling you not to travel, the same people that are telling you to keep your kids at school, they send their kids to private school, right?
That's right.
They're getting caught eating at restaurants that California Governor Newsom, eating with 1 to 10 people, were telling people in California that they had to wear a mask between bites. While telling people that you could only see 10 family members at a time. And then telling people that they can travel while mayor from Texas, I believe, got caught in Cabo, Mexico. And I don't understand why people don't see this kind of behaviors and get angry. Imagine someone telling you you cannot do something. Imagine someone telling you to stay home so you could become poor, losing your job and your livelihood. Meanwhile, they're still getting paid. And they're still living their lives like nothing is happening. But yeah, they're threatening you with fines. They're threatening you with shutdowns. They're threatening you with getting you arrested. And no one gets angry at that. No one says, you know what? Let's go to these people's houses and let's drop them out. Like, do people forget these people are public servants? We put them there, we can drag them out. Why is no one dragging them out? I don't understand. Lock them up. Lock them out. Lock them out.
Get them out! Get them out! Get them out! Lock them up!
To me, it's just, I get so angry sometimes, right? And I talk about this every day on my social media page. My family banned me from when I visited. I can't talk about it anymore because they don't want to hear it. And I tell them, unfortunately, you are part of the problem. Because guess what? You want to sit here, right? Wasting months of our life. It's almost been a year. We sit down, we're going to just let the government do whatever. Next thing you know, we're going to wake up in concentration camps, getting slaughtered. And that's the problem, and people don't see it. Oh, everything is cool right now. Everything seems a little, I guess, normal. They're comfortable. What they call the frog experiment, when you put a frog in water and you start to rise up the temperature, the frog starts adjusting his body to the temperature and it's comfortable.
But when the water gets too hot and by the time the frog wants to jump out, the frog can't jump out.
No!
Because the water is too hot that it starts to kill the frog. And that is exactly what's happening with society. Everything is too comfortable. You see people walking around like the movie The Matrix, right? Exactly. And then you see the issue and they're just like blind. They have their eyes open physically, but they can't see what's really going on. Right. So everyone is going about their business. But if this continues, like I said, in a couple more months, it's going to continue to escalate. And if this was so dangerous, I wouldn't need the government to threaten me. I wouldn't need the government to give me fines. I wouldn't need the government to shut down. I would keep myself in my house. If the reality of what they presented in the news would match my reality, and I would see people dying on the streets, in the thousands, I would take myself and lock myself up myself. I wouldn't need the government to tell me. Because what's being done is the game Simon says. So Simon says stay in your house. Simon says wear a mask. Simon says shut down your business. Keep your kids at school, at home. Lose your job. Apply for unemployment. That's what we're doing, playing the game Simon says. And it's going to continue. The government is going to continue to demand more and more and more until we have nothing to give. They're going to make us depressed. They're making us suicidal. That's right. Addicted to drug and alcohol. Yeah. Domestic violence is going up. Yep. And child abuse also. Right. The children's education is suffering. Their psychological development. They're being trained to think that when they see somebody else without a mask, that they're a death sentence, that they're a threat. That's right. That's psychological warfare. And the same taxes, and Curtis said it, and I've said it before, the same taxes that were being used in Nazi Germany with the propaganda. You can't get on the train without saying that this is disrespect, but wearing a mask is good, and this is bad. Yeah. And people don't see a problem with that. Yeah. Like I said, if this was so bad and deadly, the government wouldn't have to tell me anything. I'm an adult. I have a mind of my own. I would know, hey, people are dropping dead on the sidewalk like that was happening in China. But nowhere else did that happen but China. Right. Yeah. And nobody seems to ask themselves, why? Why did China put out the propaganda of people dropping dead on the sidewalk? Not just dropping dead, but they were wearing masks too. And the government in China was locking people up in their houses, shutting down buildings so people wouldn't come out. And people are saying that we should emulate China, a communist country that has no human rights, that sent people to re-education camps because they believe in the Bible. And that's what people want. And I don't understand that. And then they say it's racist to call it a Chinese virus. China don't care about us. China don't care about their own people. And you have the audacity to defend the people that are signing up with people from the U.S. government to enslave humanity. Because people don't understand something. Yeah, this is affecting the world. But if America falls, the whole world is going to fall down too. This is why they're purposely destroying America from within with a fake race war, with BLM and Antifa, with big tech. They censored me on Facebook for 30 days recently because I had an argument with a so-called nurse. And I told her, if you're not worried that more than 500,000 people die of heart attacks every year, don't sit here talking to me about the deaths of coronavirus. So I posted the information straight up from the CDC, and then banned me for 30 days. They said I was harassing her and bullying her. This is the society that we live in today. And then people say, well, there's no communism coming to America. They're censoring you. They're keeping you at home, making you financially dependent on the government. That's right. Threatening you with fines, threatening you to shut down your business. And you don't think that's what communists do? That's exactly, so what were people doing during history time when they were talking about Nazi Germany? What were people doing? What were people doing when Venezuela, who used to be one of the richest countries in South America, went down? Now you have people eating food from the garbage can. Where were people at?
That's right.
I really don't understand the decay of society, and no one cares because they're not coming for you yet. They're shutting down the businesses. They're coming for the business owner. That's what they did to the Jews. You don't care because you're not a Jew, right? They don't care to defend our rights because my thing is, if you're so scared of the virus, you have the right to stay in your houses. That's what you want to do. If you want to lose your job and you want to be dependent on the government, that's your problem. That is not my problem. But I'm not responsible, and I say this, I call it the COVID-19 cult. I'm not responsible for your delusions, and you have the right to infringe my rights, telling me to stay home, telling me to be dependent on the government when I don't want to do that. I want to go to work. I want to go to work. I want to travel. I want to go on a cruise. I want to make money. I don't want to be a slave to the government. I don't need the government to tell me what to do because I have a brain and a mind of my own, and I can use it and make my own decisions. But we see a society that needs someone to tell them what to do. We live in a society that wants big government control because they don't have a brain of their own, that they need someone to guide them like a parent. I don't need a parent. My parents are already there, and they can't tell me what to do. I'm grown.
That's right.
So I really don't understand what is going on with people. You see them passing by, no curiosity to see what it is that we're talking about because they don't care. They don't care. Because I seriously cannot believe that people think this is all about the for safety. So for safety, we made people homeless, we made people unemployed.
Disgusting.
We have children suffering psychologically and their education levels decreasing for the sake of safety.
Unbelievable.
And people think that's normal.
Disgusting.
There's nothing normal about it. And one thing that I would say, people, say no to the new normal. Even when you get the press, because sometimes I get the press and I lose hope. But you know what I'm going to tell you right now? And this is going to be the last thing I say. I will never stop until I'm living in New York, and New York is under the communists, because this is what it is. It's communism.
Yeah.
If New York doesn't, unless I get out of here, I will continue to fight every fucking day, and I'm not going to comply. They can arrest me, they can do whatever they want, but I'm not going to comply with communists, and I'm not going to bow down to the demonic globalist elite. I will not comply.
No new normal. No new normal. No new normal. No new normal.
Okay, come on.
Someone want to hold this?
All right, we'll take this. Just before, I want to mention that NYS Liberty Coalition. Have you got that? At Gmail. Okay, if anybody is not on a list, you need to get messages from us every week. Where are we going to be and what are we going to do? Every Sunday, we're going to be doing something. Whether it's deployments, indoors, it's bad weather, we're going to be doing something every Sunday. So there's a sheet, there's a sign-in sheet going around. We're going to take our speaker, Ken. Let me get this one guy because he's waiting. All right, so come on up, Ken. Sign in the sheet. Okay, where is it? Jessica, do you have that sign-in sheet? Did anybody not sign up with our list? All right.
I don't like going on lists myself.
Everyone should remember that the Nazi Party was the National Socialist Party.
That's right.
Okay? Socialism, communism, Marxism, it's all the same thing. We have a lot of smart people in this audience. For example, I just heard one, but there's a gentleman here right now that wrote a book about Dr. Fauci in what, 2012? I thought you did, Charles.
No, I
okay.
didn't.
Okay. I read a book about Dr. Fauci in 2012. And I knew about Dr. Fauci in 1980 when he was telling us AIDS would become an airborne virus and we would all need a vaccine. I'm sorry, I thought you wrote that book.
No, you wrote it.
The book is called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the Bernie Madoff of Science.
Fire Fauci.
Highly recommend that you go on the internet and get it, okay?
What's the name of it again? Sorry.
We need to keep our hope going here. This young lady just gave me some hope. But what we need to understand is we elected a president in this country that signed an executive order in 2018. How many of you have read the executive order he signed in October 2018? It clearly states, he signed a lot, you're right, but I'm going to tell you which one. He signed an executive order that clearly states that if anyone interferes in our elections going forward, anyone, and I hope Mark Zuckerberg is listening to me.
And Jack Dorsey.
And Dorsey. And the Communist Chinese Party, which happened to live across the street from me. I live right across the street from the Chinese consulate, and I've been watching it for the past 5 years.
They've been watching
and I know what they're doing in there. They're infiltrating, as John Kennedy said in a speech to the National Press Club in 1961. He clearly stated if this country was ever brought down, it would be brought down through infiltration, not invasion. Listen to JFK's warning speech from 1961.
And he was imploring the press to do something about it, and they obviously did nothing about it.
They got involved.
Exactly. They became co-conspirators. Am I doing that?
Back up the mic. There you go.
It's probably the tracking device they put on me.
Don't doubt it. I too.
No, the tracking, I have the tracking device right here.
That's
There it
right.
is.
We all do.
This executive order, I read it this morning, clearly states what's about to happen between now and the 24th of December. Are you ready to hear what's going to happen?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us.
The president will seize all assets of anyone that had anything to do with rigging this election.
Soros.
Biden.
Gates.
Google.
He will then walk over to the Chinese consulate. You're welcome to come over there with me this week because they're going to march everybody out of the building. And they're going to put them on an airplane and send them back to where they came from.
Which state?
The next thing that's going to...
Wait.
I'm sorry, sir.
Which day is that going to happen?
Between now and the 24th.
They won't tell you.
You're welcome to have coffee with me every morning. We can watch it out my window.
I'm tempted.
I will love it.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
We're going to find out who's on the payroll of this Communist Chinese Party. Yeah, we're going to find out that Judge Roberts has been on their payroll for quite some time. I went to prep school with Judge Roberts. What would you like to know about Judge Roberts? Would you like to know about Judge Roberts? He's been a communist piece of crap his whole life.
How do you know that?
How do we know? How do we know?
No, George Bush appointed. Okay, George Bush has been a communist piece of crap his entire life. People need to understand what a communist is. A communist is someone that wants complete control over every aspect of your life. Who gave us the Patriot Act?
Bush.
George Bush.
W.
Who gave us the NDAA? Barack Obama. You need to know who these people are. They are communists. They want to control every aspect of your life, but they're also inherently corrupt and inherently stupid. John Roberts was not a smart kid in prep school. I'll tell you right now, he was a fucking idiot. John Roberts is also a Jesuit. How many people know what a Jesuit is?
Fauci's a Jesuit.
John Roberts is also a Knight of Malta. How many people know what a Knight of Malta is?
Yeah.
And John Roberts also likes to vacation on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and that is not a conspiracy theory. I hope you put this up on your website.
Picture of him with Ghislaine Maxwell.
And I hope he remembers me. It's all going to come out with this executive order. Trump signed this 2 years ago because he knew that there was foreign interference in the 2016 election.
Right.
And he knew there was foreign interference in the 2018 election.
Right.
And what we're going to find out is none of these scumbags, including Senator Peters from Michigan, I don't know if you saw him go off this week, the reason he's so upset is we're going to find out he didn't get elected. John James won the race in Michigan. So please do not give up and please do not lose heart, because what's coming this week is going to, it's something you're going to tell your grandchildren about. And hopefully when we stop vaccinating our grandchildren, they're going to remember what we tell them. And I'll leave you with this one little thought about vaccines. There is a group in this country, and I've gone and visited them many times in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They're called the Amish. The Amish do not vaccinate their children. They have never had one case of autism in the Amish community.
Oh, wow.
The Amish do not pay federal income tax. The Amish do not pay into Social Security. The Amish do not pay property tax.
Sounds pretty
I'm
good.
going to tell you one other thing about Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Pretty.
I own a research company, so I have to know this stuff. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, the home of the Amish, have more millionaires per capita than any place in this country. Think about it. If you don't pay real estate tax, and you don't pay property tax, and you don't pay Social Security, and you don't vaccinate your kids, everyone must be pretty smart and pretty rich. And that's why they have more millionaires than anyone per capita in the country.
The outfits.
So this week you're going to see things that you will tell your grandchildren about.
I hope that's
true.
I'm willing to lose $100 for that.
I'll gladly give you the 100. If Joe Biden, I'll tell you
I'm
what.
saying I'm willing to lose it if you're right. I'm willing to lose
If Joe Biden ever gets in the White House, I'll give you the $100.
I got $100 I'm going to win.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out here, folks. You're the people that are going to save this country. And Trump is going to turn off Facebook and Twitter with the executive order.
That would be awesome.
All the brain dead millennials staring at their phones are going to have nothing to look at.
All right. Good job.
Yeah.
That's some truth. Truth to power. Woo.
Oh, you guys can't see my eyes. I'm too tall. Look at this. What's up, everybody? How we doing today? Come on now. Come on, let's make some noise. We out here today. All right. So last week I was here for I think it was the first or second time, I don't remember. First time, because I was at Grand Army Plaza. So I met a lot of you beautiful people at Grand Army Plaza. And then last week, we had someone coming here saying, suck my dick, you guys are assholes and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what's funny? It's funny that when somebody like him comes in and attacks this peaceful gathering that we're having, and then we retaliate, we say something, we're the aggressors, right? You know? And I'm saying this as a black man, so I'm not gonna go into what I went into last week. I want to just say this, right? A lot of people who look like me, I don't know if you noticed, but 90% of people that look like me vote Democrat, right? So me being out here as an independent, right? Not someone who's a Democrat or Republican. I'm a human being at the end of the day. And I don't even care what you decide you want to be, right? Just like this guy wants to come and ask if people wearing a Trump hat are jokes. Is your face covering a joke? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like we forgotten that people have a right to do what they want to do. What the hell? You know, and this is the first year. Before this, I had never really followed politics, right? I voted for Barack once, and if you ask me again, hell no, I will not vote for him. Right? We mean Barry Soetoro. That's what we mean, Barry Soetoro, right? Who grew up with the Bushes, right? A lot of people don't know that. He's one of them. Yeah, he's one of them, right? They're cousins, right, yes. So,
I'm Barack Obama's cousin?
Yeah, so anyway, this is the first year I started seeing that a lot of the media, they, you know, with a lot of the leftist media, how they portray President Trump and how they swing things, how they make things seem like it's their fault, how they make the Proud Boys seem like they're a racist group, how Joe Biden denounces Antifa. You know what I mean? These things, right? And most of my friends, they don't know this because they only get their media from one side. So my thing was always, I'm a health and wellness professional. We're told we see, let's say someone wants to lose weight, right? So that person comes to me, hey, I want to lose weight. After a month, we gather data. So I'm that type of person. I gather data, you know, because the data is going to tell you exactly what you need to see. So I'm a very logical thinking person. But for some reason, people, especially on the left, don't think logically. So I'll give you a perfect example, right? Someone got upset that Governor Newsom, I believe his name, Florida governor, is not DeSantis. Sorry, Newsom is California. DeSantis is not closing indoor dining. He called him a murderer for not closing indoor dining, right? I presented him with information. I said, sir, do you realize, right, according to worldmeters.info, we actually have less cases, about 800,000, 900,000, and more deaths, about 36,000. Florida, while they did a lockdown, but they've been open for the most part for the past about 6 months,
they have 15,000 less deaths and 1 million cases. So what does that tell you? Lockdowns don't work. That's right. But guess what? He wanted to call me an executioner. He said, it's funny that people think like you. We would be what did he say? He said, if more people think like you, we're gonna all die. This is the thing with that I realized, right? Even when you present people with data and facts, for some reason they still don't get it, right? And I'm gonna give you a story right quick, and this is how far this has gotten, right? Just like Joe, she spoke and said that most of her family has broken apart from her. It's the same with me. Me as well. My own father came. I didn't tell you guys this last week. My own father came up to stay with me last week, right? In the beginning of the month. My father came in my door. You know, he watches CNN, MSNBC all the time, so we already know what time it is, right? Fake news all the time. I'm saying, hey, Pop, what's up? Haven't seen my father in 9 months. I want to give him a hug. I want to give him a handshake. Guess what my father does? You guys know what he did. What he did?
Social distancing. Yeah.
Elbow. I said, Pop, you're about to stay in my apartment. He's like, but son, I want to feel safe. I don't feel safe. I said, Pop, you drove 12 hours from South Carolina to come stay with me for a month, and you don't feel safe? So if you didn't feel safe, why you didn't stay your ass home down there? And I told my father that, and I kicked my own father out. You know how much that hurt? And this is the point we're reaching, folks. This is the point we're reaching where this is what they want to do with us, divide and conquer us, right? I don't see black and white. Now, I won't lie, I do see black and white. We do see it, right? But when I come here, I don't see people, I don't see anyone who's black or white per se. I don't identify you as that. I see someone who are human beings, and we're fighting for our rights. And sometimes I do want to give up too, but I say, you know what? Maybe we have to approach things a little differently. 1, 2, we need to make sure that we're out here, because the energy that in the community that we're building is something that is historical. And we're living in history right now. We're living in history. Whether we're going to be on the right side or wrong side of history is up to the people, but I believe I'm on the right side of history. And you guys know, once we go down that rabbit hole that we've all decided to go down, there's no going back. I can't just sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna just let it happen. Not on my watch. Not on our watch. Okay, so I just wanted to share those couple things with you guys today, and also finally that yeah, did you guys go on Whole Foods? I forgot what I was going to say. You guys went to Whole Foods again? We did it again? Right. Oh, yes. Last thing. I wanted to share this with these 3 things with you. 1, anyone familiar with the nurse that fainted? You probably all seen it. Okay, right now, allegedly, I don't know if any of you guys know, she's dead. Allegedly.
We better check.
Let's check.
We better verify that.
Okay. I just said allegedly. I don't want to make any speculations.
I've seen it. I don't think she died. I'm not saying that people will not die, but I saw an interview of her after that happened, making an excuse of that, but that she's not
No,
dead.
not the feigning. Not the feigning. You talking about the feigning, right?
Well, let's double check it. Let's
double check it. But if you go on her Instagram, Tiffany Dover _ Tiffany Dover. People are commenting on it right now, and they're asking where she hasn't responded.
Oh, wow.
So this is actually recent, like yesterday.
I looked yesterday.
How can people find you? How can people find you?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep looking up. That's why I say allegedly. I don't want to say that she is. 2, New York Assembly. I don't know if anybody's out here from New York Assembly. I know, forgot his name, but they've also been doing, if you go on Instagram, New York Assembly, they've also been doing some things to try to fight back against Cuomo. Because I think we all have to start finding organizations like us or like this to work together. And 3, they actually, New York Assembly actually has something where they ask for the efficacy of masks, if masks work. And so where's the proof? They have no records. I have it in my phone.
The
So
FOIA
yes, the FOIA request. Yes.
Robert Kennedy Jr. just released it. The
Yes.
masks don't work.
Right. So
How can
what
people
we need,
follow you on social media?
Yes, I'm Coach King Rod on Instagram. Okay, Coach King Rod on Instagram. I've been doing stuff like the ads, showing people
Spell it.
like Parler too. I'm going on Parler because Instagram is doing this crazy stuff, and Telegram. What was I gonna say? I showed like the
Spell
ash
your
experiment.
Instagram. Spell it.
Okay, Coach King Rod, COACH KING ROD. I've been just putting stuff on there like the Ash experiment, which shows how people conform. And last thing, I have one more thing. I'm sorry, one more thing. Yeah, let's stay free, because I forgot what I was going to say. Let's stay free. Thank you, guys.
So we're almost on a page. What do you want to do?
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's go up to the end. We're at 18%.
Got a line.
So it's a few more minutes.
All right.
I'm sorry.
We've had some good speakers, and the crowd has grown.
I'm freezing as well.
This is funny.
Take off the face diaper!
All right, couple of things. First of all, the funnier thing, actually somewhat useful, remind me if I forget to say it, has to do with penises.
Wait a minute.
So if I don't get around to it, everyone just shout penises. I'll mention that then. First thing is I realized something just yesterday, which is absolutely incredible. The numbers actually came out for New York State, and that is where people are contracting the coronavirus. Now, I think it's actually real, not very dangerous, but real. And they found the numbers are, it's completely true, you can look it up online, it's not really argued, it's on everywhere. 75% of people are contracting it at home. 75%. About 8% of people are contracting it through medical care. And you know what that means, by the way? They don't spell it out for you. You ever pass by on this street over here or the next one, all those like MD places where people are waiting in line like lambs to the fucking slaughter, waiting in line? That's where they are getting the fucking coronavirus. It's unbelievable. You walk into a place which is full of people who have symptoms to get yourself tested, and then you walk out with a clean bill of health because they just, you know, nostril fucked you. And you got a clean bill of health, but in reality, you just picked up all the germs you need to go home and take it to your loved ones. That is literally where it is spreading.
That's actually a pretty good point.
Another thing, by the way, Benjamin Franklin famously said, those who are willing to exchange, if you know this one, say it along with me, those who are willing to exchange freedom, or what do you say? Freedom for security deserve neither freedom nor security. Now you'll find a bunch of them nitwit pinheads online saying that's actually very misunderstood. It's not what he was referring to. He was talking about a tax issue, which actually, now listen, I actually read the fucking thing online. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard to understand because he's dealing with Indian territories and fur trappers out there, whether they want to become a state or not. But the long and short of it is that Franklin is calling for assistance for these people out there on the frontier who are living with freedom, and he's saying they do not want to become part of your fucking state. They do not want to be under your hegemony, and they would rather have their freedom than to give it up for security, a temporary freedom, temporary security for losing eternal freedom, which is more or less what's going on now. Now, I'm not gonna lie. To some degree, I kind of like some levels of socialism. Boo, I know, boo, boo. Pause for boos. Boo. But there you go, like fire department. I mean, we can get rid of the police, but, you know, fire department.
Just need them to do
Not
something.
just because the police, they do too many wrong things. You know, fix it up, actually. Favorite police, but a little bit fixed up. Anyway, back to the point, though. I don't mean to get into a thing. I know pro-police people carry guns, so I'll be careful.
That's actually funny.
But some level of a safety net is pretty important. Some level of a social safety net, I think, is pretty important. That's why some of the most pro-red, pro-Republican communities are those that have a safety net. For example, the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn. For example, the Mormons in Utah. They have a social safety net, which is why they don't really relate to the idea that we who don't have a safety net, we who are on our own, could really get fucked over if we get sick or something. But I think we do need some level of safety net. And that's one positive thing that might come out of this shit. But the main reason why I doubt that any kind of positive thing that's going to come out is because primarily what they're doing is negative. Telling us to all wear masks, getting rid of our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, for God's sake, 6 fucking feet apart. Screw them. Right? Freedom of the press. I mean, they delete from YouTube and from Facebook and from Twitter. They're deleting anything they don't like. You know what freedom of the press actually means, by the way? People like to say freedom of the press means that the New York Post can post a picture of some random person and say she fucks donkeys. That's not what freedom of the press is. Freedom of the press is simply words written down. That's what the intention was, words written down. Today, we are the press. All of us are the press. The New York Times, the Washington Post, the New York Post, they are not the press any more than you or I are. They are less the press. They get paid to spout the shit they do. We don't. We are the press, and they shut us down. And then freedom of religion. It took the Supreme Court to say that it's ridiculous to have stricter rules for churches and synagogues and mosques and temples. It's ridiculous to have stricter rules for them than that we have for strip clubs and Chinese acupuncture stuff, which was really the case before the Supreme Court overruled it. Well, before I get to the penises, one more is Jubilee. This is actually a little bit upbeat, so if you're in the mood to just be pessimistic, step away, because I'm a bit optimistic about this whole business. So I teach history every once in a while, or at least I attempt to. And one thing that I know from history, which is pretty fucking fascinating, is the Bible. Raise your hands if you heard of the Bible. Anybody? All right, about a third of you. Raise your hands if you've actually read, like, you know, large chunks of it. Got like 7 people. Not bad, not bad. And the kids shall lead them all. Yes. Wow. So in the Bible, there's this concept, because Moses, as it turns out, was not a moron. He was a pretty clever fellow. Moses talks about the Jubilee. The Jubilee is every 50 years. Now again, this might be a little triggering, because I heard there's this concept called the Great Reset. Never looked into it. Don't know what it means. But the Jubilee of Moses sounds a little bit like a reset. I apologize, don't mean to trigger people. I'm sure it's very different than the sort of reset Bill Gates has in mind. The Jubilee of the Bible is that every 50 years, all debts are forgiven. Whatever mistakes your parents or grandparents made that ended you up as an indentured servant, that ended you losing up all your property, whatever happened, it's all set back, we restart, because you know what? Every 2 generations, you need to have people decide.
Well, all right, so there we go, Charles. We've got a little bit of time.
All right.
Because, so this, take care, guys. Yes.
See ya.
All right, so Charles, the battery on the stabilizer has died. The battery on the controlling phone will die soon. Now we're walking into an area. Okay, see the cops are driving away as we walk over here.
Over, yeah. Be careful.
Everybody's got something to say there, Charles.
Everybody's got an opinion. So as we're short of time, I'll walk with you over to 7th, I guess. We'll see how long.
Well, we can. Yeah, this phone's going to run for another few minutes, but we'll be slightly unstable. I think we had a good mix. There were a lot of people there with several good points.
Yeah.
Some people who got off into things that perhaps I didn't agree with, but.
Well, that's actually it reminds me a lot of the vibrancy of the Tea Party movement. The same sort of thing, that you would get spontaneous people coming together and they get up and they speak. There are a bunch of police there. But as we're short on time, I just want to make a few points. The art department crush hour is fantastic.
Thanks.
You have to appreciate, folks, that that's exactly what they're going to try to do. They are trying to crush the spirit of people who love freedom. They're trying to sell us on the idea that we're not smart enough to make decisions for ourselves. Instead, we should let idiots make them for us, like Fauci, like John Roberts. Frankly, I didn't know that he was dumb in prep school, if that's true.
I did see a picture of him with Ghislaine Maxwell, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So they've been selling us, the supposed experts have been selling us on the idea that experts know everything. You should just surrender to the experts and just don't think for yourself. Just follow the orders of experts.
I like that kid.
That kid was amazing. Homeschooled.
Amazing.
So in the coming week, a lot will happen. Of course, we have Christmas Eve on Thursday night.
Good comments from that guy who lives across the street from the Chinese consulate as well.
Yeah.
And he's the lawyer that we spoke to a few weeks ago.
Right. And so, we're out here. It is wet.
Cold.
It is reasonably cold. My feet are freezing. But
feet are cold.
But I think it's important for us to be out trying to document. You didn't see any mainstream media people there. And of course, if anybody writes about it, it'll all be these conspiracy theorists, racists, even though many of the speakers were black, and different backgrounds.
Hispanic and all kinds of Chinese people were there.
Right.
There's all kinds of
it is very much a spontaneous movement, unlike the idiot who got there and was playing that music loudly. We're not paid by anybody to do this. We're doing this.
I don't know if that guy's paid or not, but he's just there to be a jerk. I mean, I wanted to invite him. Look, if you have something to say, get up there on the stand and say it.
Yeah.
Don't just stand here and obstruct.
He didn't have much to say.
Of course not. He's an idiot.
Yeah. So I thought. So I hope that fellow is right, the lawyer who was talking about how the executive order is going to be employed this week. I hope he's right.
Yeah. It makes sense, actually.
Yeah. I hope Donald Trump understands that this is not like the night before, the day before, whatever, the Super Bowl. You can't, because you don't feel well on game day.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, okay, I insist on being the quarterback, but I'm just going to dial it in, and I don't care if I win. You have to win.
Yeah.
And
stakes are high, Charles.
Right. And it's interesting. You don't see many people. I haven't run into many people who used to be conservative Republicans and then wake up and are blue-pilled and say...
Goes the other way.
I just haven't. It doesn't mean there aren't people like that. I haven't met any. And but you see an enormous number of people who were left-leaning. I think you mentioned that you voted for Barry Soetoro twice.
Yeah.
I don't mean
stupid.
to rub your nose in it, but
no,
people make mistakes.
Muppet Show dog right there, Charles.
So I think a large number of people, myself included, I was, before 2007, after I retired in 2002, I didn't want to get involved in politics.
Well, that was interesting. That Coach Rod, said that he wasn't interested in politics, but I mean, that's just it. When it starts to really affect your life, your business, your ability to leave your home, that was the most touching thing that he said was that he had to ask his father to leave.
That's a big thing.
That's a big deal, right? I mean, think about how this is changing family relationships forever.
Well, and
it's terrible.
And I don't know if you heard the statistic that the last speaker was saying that they have a study that's come out, 75% of the people who contracted coronavirus got it at home.
Right.
So help me understand that.
That's why they want you to stay there.
Well, no. I mean, it's just.
Where are you getting it from?
Maybe if you circulated it, you wouldn't have got it. If you were out circulating, maybe you wouldn't have got it in the same way. And maybe it's not actually COVID that you have, but it's the flu or something else. I mean, the supposed experts who said 15 days to slow the spread. It's fine to go to Chinatown in San Francisco.
Right.
Find a date on Tinder.
Buy $15 ice cream.
Yeah, you're going to take the vaccine, but after you take it, you're still going to have to be locked down and wearing masks. At a certain point, you should have a very good dunderhead detector. These people are dunderheads, and they have conflicts of interest. It could be criminal dunderheads.
Yeah.
And we just can't meekly give up this great republic. So I hope people who are watching this show and the previous shows, I see some evidence of it on my Twitter feed. Thank you to those who are watching my Twitter feed. People watch a show like today, and then those who get engaged, they go back and they say, you know what, I better watch
some
more
more
of them.
Right.
And then they start going all the way back. I don't know how many accumulated views we have at this point just to watch yourself.
It's about 28 million or something.
That's
like
a
that.
lot.
Yeah. Now, Charles, I hate to cut our conversation
Sure.
short, but my arm is getting very tired now
All right,
from holding
okay.
it awkwardly like this.
So we can
and
stop.
we've lost stabilization. So yeah, but thanks for watching, everybody. Definitely an interesting show today. The onslaught on Crowdsource the Truth continues. There's a whole new troll, super troll, who's after me. So I hope that people will get onto Patreon and Subscribestar and sponsor the show. Trying to get the Jason Goodman channel out of jail.
Hope you
I
do that.
don't know if I told you the story, but that was very interesting what happened. But see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
It's cold out here.
Yep. There goes the